Bharti madam, हमारे सब colleagues, participants, and dear students. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome such a renowned person for having a workshop on teaching pedagogy. It's indeed a pleasure again to welcome sir on behalf of Tolani Mandir, our management, our college, our students, our staff, and on behalf of all, sir, I welcome you and I request all of you to join your hands and clap for him and welcome him for this session. I'm sure that after the session, you will definitely learn something that really helps you in teaching in your classroom. Sir has already talked with me about these things, but I wish that he will tell you about what is the teaching pedagogy that you can use for the teaching. So again, on behalf of all of us, sir, again welcome you. Thank you very much.
As we are conducting this seminar on sustainable development, we would like to implement that in our proceedings. So, as a part of respect and regards, we would like to honor our guest with a sapling. I request Professor Sampada ma'am to do this honor for us. This is the feeling of our love and affection, sir. Now I request our principal, Dr. Manish Pandya, to present a memento to our sir.
Thank you all.
Yes. Now let us move on to our formal session. I would like to invite Jyoti Laljani to give brief introduction about our guest of honor, Dr. H.C. Trivedi today. Jyoti, please.
Thank you, ma'am. So, starting with the introduction of Dr. Hemant Trivedi. Dr. Hemant Trivedi is a professor of a practice at Adani Institute of Digital Technology Management. He was provost at C.U. Shah University, Varman City, Surendranagar, Gujarat. Dr. Trivedi was senior professor and officiating dean at School of Management in North Cap University, Gurgaon. Prior to that, he was professor and chair faculty of communication at Main University, Pune, and his previous tenure was director School of Petroleum Management, TDPU, Kanpur. Dr. Trivedi was Dean College of Management and Economic Studies at the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Gurgaon, and from August 2010 to March 2011. Earlier, he was professor in marketing area at Mundra Institute of Communication, Ahmedabad, where he introduced and led the PG diploma program in retail communication management from 2005 onwards and an executive postgraduate diploma program in communication management in 2008. Before joining MICA in November 2004, he was with the MBA program at Bhavnagar University since 1994. He was conducted several short-term FDP and MDP programs and their national and 4 state level conferences and seminars. His doctoral work focused on retail promotion by regional, national, and multinational brands. He has, to his credit, more than 30 publications with academic journals of repute, national and international conference proceedings, national industrial reports, etc. He has industry exposure of over 15 years in the manufacturing and marketing of industrial pumps and pumping industries. He has also worked for the Gujarat Khadi Board Marketing Trust as a marketing management for 4 years. And among us the early employees for Dinas Club Private Limited marketing credit card in 1983-84. He is reasonably well traveled through UK, Europe, Middle East, and Far Eastern region. His retail yatra concept took him around all the corners of India and is a student of retail. His academic administration experience is more than 20 years, heading various programs and committees, academic councils, and board of studies at different universities and business schools. Professor Trivedi maintains active interest in academic innovation and experimentation. His consults in technology, innovation, and strategic management and retail. We welcome you, sir.
Sir, may I request now, you can proceed with your session, sir.
Please give us a few minutes while we cut up the presentation.
Jadi nang ધક્કો માં શેર સ્લાઇડ અરવિંદ આ અહીંયા ઈ બહાર જાય બેટા આ બાજુ કર
So, good morning, friends. To begin with, I'd like to point out a couple of things. I usually do that whenever I'm speaking to set of people. How many of you do not understand Gujarati? તમારામાંથી ગુજરાતી કેટલા લોકોને નથી ફાવતું? બધાને ગુજરાતી ફાવે છે એવું માની રાઈટ. એટલે જો બે ત્રણ વસ્તુની ચોખવટ થઈ જાય ને તો આગળ જતા તકલીફ ન હોય. I see a lot of students here, and I'm sure they are in the habit of attending classes for about 75 minutes or maximum 90 minutes. Today I'm going to be here for almost 2.5 hours. એટલે મારા મિત્રો અહીંયા જે બેઠા છે આગળ એ લોકોને તમારી સહન શક્તિ ઉપર ખૂબ માન છે એવું હું માનું કે કોઈ સાવ અજાણ્યા વ્યક્તિને તમે 2-2.5 કલાક સુધી સાંભળી લેશો. એટલીસ્ટ પ્રોફેસર બેઠા છે ને તેજસ ગુજરાત એમને આવો ક્લાસ નહોતો આપ્યો. આપ્યો તો પેલી વખત આવો ક્લાસ એક જ લેક્ચર 2 કલાકનો નહીં. મેક્સિમમ our classes 2 કલાકના રહેતા. We used to have 2-hour classes. And there are a lot of people coming in, so let them settle down. Let the newcomers settle down. Yeah. So there is no way those people can keep standing for 2.5 hours. It's impossible.
Yes, sir, 2 minutes, sir. Just 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah, but
2 minutes, sir.
absolutely. No, that's why I'm not starting the session. So, ये लोग को settle થાય ત્યાં સુધી આપણે બીજી થોડી વાતો કરીએ. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for a very elaborate introduction. આવું જ્યારે સાંભળું ને મારા રીતે ત્યારે આવું કોણે કર્યું છે આટલું બધું કરીએ તો છે પણ એક વસ્તુ છે ને મિસ થઈ જાય છે કે આજે 8-10 વસ્તુ એમને કીધી છે એ 35 વર્ષમાં મેં કરી છે 35 માં નથી કર્યું. It was 35 years that I spent. I have not started.
चलो स्टूडेंट जल्दी बैठ जाओ फटाफट ये अपनी भूमि है. फैकल्टीज प्लीज आगे आ जाओ, जगह है.
Yeah. So I was approached to try and talk on teaching pedagogy, teaching learning mechanisms, and all those things. I've been very fortunate over the last 25 years to have been associated with different kinds of institutions, and more importantly, those institutions which allowed and permitted a lot of experimentation. I was able to do a lot of new things in my life as an academician. I do take typical classes where I go to the classroom, students are there and I talk and they listen. But as early as 96, 97, we started what is now known as flipped classes. So I give an assignment to the students. The students will prepare the assignment at home, and the next day they will come and present it as a teacher. So as early as 96, 97, we started doing this. At that time, we were not aware of what will be the life of this kind of pedagogy. But when I talk to the alumni now, right, we realize that they feel very great. I mean, one of the most important things that happened was build-up of their confidence to talk. And in Gujarat, હું પણ ગુજરાતી છું એટલે મને જરાય સરસ નથી આવતી આ શીખાતા. આપણું ઇંગ્લિશ ગુજરાતી ઇંગ્લિશ છે. then સાઉથ ઇન્ડિયાના અમુક સ્ટેટનું એમ થાય ને એવી રીતે મિનિમમ તો ખાલી ગુજરાતમાં કંઈક સાઉથ સુધી જ રીતે થાય. But we speak a very different English compared to most other states. But let me tell you, friend, that one thing which makes me proud is I have a friend who is a Britisher, and she was born and brought up in England. When she visited us in India and interacted with a few of us, she said, a born Britisher, resident of London in England, that Heyman, you and your friends speak better English than what we do. So I'm very proud of the way we are speaking our language, right? But at the same time, we have to be able to understand that there are variations. I mean, Gujarati માં બધાને ખબર પડે કે કચ્છમાં ગુજરાતી કંઈક જુદું બોલે, અમારા કાઠિયાવાડના ગુજરાતી કંઈક જુદું બોલે, right? અને નોર્થ ગુજરાતના ગુજરાતી પાછું કંઈક જુદું બોલે. બધું કહેવાય ગુજરાતી, પણ એટલું બધું અલગ અલગ બોલે ને કે ઘણી વાર સમજાય નહીં. Many times it happens if I listen to somebody from Kutch or listening to somebody from Mehsana, I can't make out half of what they are saying. I get a little out here. But yeah, having said that, what is important for an educator is, as a teacher, what I have learned is, whatever you speak or don't speak, no father, no. પણ વિદ્યાર્થીને સમજાય જવું જોઈએ કે આપણે કહેવા શું માંગીએ છીએ. જો બોલ્યા વગર એટલું થઈ જતું હોય ને તો બોલવાની જરૂર નથી. Right? And I have done this kind of things in the class. ખાસ કરીને when I joined MICA after 2004, when I had a brilliant set of students in a small batch of 20 only, so we were able to do a lot of things. અને મેં છે ને ટોપિક આગળથી એનાઉન્સ કરી દીધો હોય. આવતીકાલે ક્લાસમાં આપણે આ ટોપિક પર ચર્ચા કરવાના છીએ. બધા રાહ જોવે કે સર આવે સર આવે સર આવે, પણ હું આવીને સૌથી છેલ્લી સીટ પર બેસી ગયો. છોકરો બધા આગળ બેઠા હોય એટલે ખબર હોય કે સર તો આવી ગયા. પછી બહાર જતા જતા કોઈ કાગળની હરોળનું પાછળ જોવે ને કે આ સર ક્યાં છે, ત્યારે મેં ખબર પડે કે સર તો બેઠા છે. પહેલી વાર એ લોકોને ખબર નથી પડી કે શું કરવાનું નહીં, એટલે મારે કહેવું પડ્યું કે આપણે આજે આ ટોપિક ડિસ્કસ કરવાનો હતો, કરો ડિસ્કસ. બીજા સેશન ઓનવર્ડ્સ જ્યારે પણ આવી એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ કરી, આઈ ડિડન્ટ હેવ ટુ સ્પીક એનીથિંગ. એ લોકો અંતરથી વાતો કરે, ડિસ્કશન કરે, પોતાના વ્યૂ શેર કરે, ઝઘડે. આપણે ત્યાં હમણાં મારામારી ઉપર આવી જશે, but that 1.5 hours, they are so much engrossed into the learning કે હું ભણાવી શકું એની કરતા વધારે સરસ છણાવટ એ ટોપિકની એ લોકોએ કરી હોય. They will have discussed the thing so well that મને ખ્યાલ આવી જાય કે I didn't have to teach this subject. આ ટોપિક મારે ભણવાનો નહોતો, એ લોકો મારી કરતા વધારે સરસ રીતે ડિસ્કસ કરી છે. અને એમાં એક મહત્વની વસ્તુ જે થઈ છે ને હમણાં છેલ્લા 15-20 વર્ષથી, એને હું ગૂગલ આંટી કહું છું. ગૂગલ આંટીને બધું આવડે. અને મારા વિદ્યાર્થીઓ બધા ક્લાસમાં એટલે મોબાઈલ ઉપર ગૂગલ આંટીને રેફર કર્યા કરે. એટલે આપણે કંઈ બોલવા જઈએ ને અને એમાં જો કંઈક ભૂલ થઈ જાય ને તો પાછા આપણને ટપાલે. એની કરતા ભાઈ ભૂલ બોલ તારી ગૂગલ આંટી શું કહે. So all kinds of ways of teaching I have kind of, I can't say all, many types of teaching I have tried to do over the last 20 years, 25 years. And I hope teachers will say that I have been reasonably successful. More successful than they know. He is teaching you people, some of you people, so I really, yes, teachers would like to say something. Right? So, with this background, I would like to tell you people that મેં કીધું ને સરે કીધું કે આ લેક્ચર પછી તમને એવું લાગશે કે ચાલો કંઈક નવું શીખ્યા છે, નવું જાણ્યું. જો તમને એવું લાગે ને કે મજા આવી તો મારા માટે તારે એવું મળે. ઓકે, પણ જો મજા ન આવે તો મારું કઈ વાંક નથી. એનું કારણ છે આમાં જે કઈ છે ને એ બધું મેં ક્યાંકથી વાંચીને બધું ભેગું કરેલું છે. મારું પોતાનું કઈ નથી. મારો PhD નો ટોપિક નથી કે જેની પર મેં રિસર્ચ કર્યું હોય. દુનિયાના અલગ અલગ યુનિવર્સિટીના સ્કોલરે જે કંઈ રિસર્ચ કર્યું છે એમાંથી લઈને મેં આ રજૂઆત કરવાની કોશિશ કરી છે. એમાં અમુક મેં પોતે એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ કરેલા છે એટલે હું ચાલી શકે કે હું ટ્રાય, પણ જે કંઈ બોલું છું એ કંઈ ક્યાંકથી લીધેલું છે. તમારે એકેડેમિકમાં છે ને ચોરી ચપાટી ચાલે, તમે જો કહી દો ને તો તમે નીચે લખી નાખવાનું કે આ મેં અહીંથી લીધું. PhD કર્યું હશે લોકો બધા ખૂબ રેફરન્સિંગ અને લિટરેચર રિવ્યુ એટલે શું, રાઈટ? એને ચોરી ચપાટી ના કરે. પણ I remember when I used to be in the school, there was a movie called Danger Dialogue, and this was a thief. આ ચોર હતો. એની ખાસિયત એ હતી કે મહિના અગાઉ 15 દિવસ અગાઉ એ પોલીસને કહી દે કે ફલાણી દિવસે ફલાણી તારીખે ફલાણી જગ્યાએથી હું આ વસ્તુ ચોરવાનો છું. એડવાન્સમાં ઇન્ફોર્મેશન. So it is something like that. Academics out what those who are in already PhDs or doing PhD, they will realize what I'm trying to say. Pehla dikhai diwa. Anything you are count for you. Allow. Plagiarism na karaye. But if you pick up something, you don't mention about it, it's plagiarism. Right? So maro વાત નથી. અને બીજી રીતે કહું, એક તો આ બધું મેં બીજાનું લીધું છે. બીજી રીતે કહું, મને અહીંયા બોલાવ્યો પડે, આજે અહીંયા મને ઉભો પડે. એટલે જો કદાચ તમારે સડેલા બટેટા ટમેટાના ઘા કરવા હોય કે ચપ્પલના ઘા કરવા હોય તો મારી ઉપર ન કરવા. Right? I hope you are very clear about this. અને એનાથી પણ જો આગળ જવું હોય કોકને મનમાં એવો વિચાર આવે કે આ મારે પ્રોફેસર બનાવવો પડે, હવે વિચાર આવે નહીં આવતો ઘણી વાર, તો મને હું છે ને તમને એ ભાઈનું નામ એડ્રેસ બધું આપી દઈશ. ભાવનગરમાં રહે છે, ત્યાં જેમ થોડી વાત કરતા કારણ કે એ મને લાગ્યા ટેકનિક્સમાં હું તો નહોતો હું તો તેને કીધું અને I was in the pump industry, manufacturing and marketing of pumps, and I got invited to join into academics. એટલે હું તમને એ ભાઈનું નામ એડ્રેસ બધું આપી દઈશ, જે કંઈ કરવું એ ત્યાં જઈને કરજો, મને કંઈ. Right? So this is my way of protecting myself. Right? મને તો ઓલી કંઈ Z કેટેગરીની ઓલી મળે નહીં એટલે આવી રીતે હું મારી જાતને બચાવવાની કોશિશ કરું. Right? Having said this, let us look at this. I'm sure some of you people will not be able to read the slides properly, but what I'm going to talk about is teaching learning pedagogy for the Gen Z. Now, who is Gen Z? Can somebody tell me who is Gen Z? Or Z, as some of you will pronounce it. In America, Z is spoken as Z. Some of you may know it. Right? So, who is this people? A Gen Z or Generation Z, they want. They only want to get that. Yeah. આજની તારીખે જે લોકો 15 થી 21 વર્ષની આયુમાં આવે છે ને એ લોકો બધા Gen Z માં આવે. તમારામાં થોડા. Right? અચ્છા એને તમારા બેકગ્રાઉન્ડ બધા વાત છે તેમાં આવે. But what is more important is for those who are trying to teach them, what challenges are you going to face and how are you going to take care of those from various perspectives is what I'm going to try and talk today. Right? So, let me begin with a small word of thanks. I'm sure the word of thanks is due to Dr. Tolani or I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh, great. So thank you for inviting me to this beautiful session here today. And also Dr. Manish Tandiyanai. I mean, amazing, the world is so small. We belong to the same community and hail from the similar kind of background, okay? An academic phenomenon here today. And the world is small, right? And then, of course, all the people in the organization of the Tolani International Conference 2022. Yesterday, I could not be there for the inaugural, but I know each one of those people who were there here yesterday. Jadeja sir is a personal friend. Kalun sir is a very respected faculty member, and we have interacted several times. I invited him also to speak at some of my events and programs. Right? GTU Vice Chancellor, I have had a couple of occasions of interacting with him. Right? And he knows about me. એટલી મને ખબર છે કારણ કે GTU માં મારા એક મિત્ર છે મને મારા વિશે તમને વાત કરી હતી કે આ ભાઈને કોકથી બોલાવા હોય તો બોલાવે. And that is how I got to be invited into a couple of events at GTU, right? And then, of course, we are talking about achieving sustainable development goals, multidisciplinary approach. I will be talking about the last part of it, the multidisciplinary approach, because without that, today, education is not going to happen. Okay? And I will explain to you why and how of it. And then, of course, of the 17 sustainable goals, goal 4 is quality education. And towards that is the entire focus of the session today. What I'm going to try and talk about is how do we achieve quality education whereby there is a sustainable habit of learning amongst the students. આજે ભાઈના કાલે પરીક્ષા લીધી પછી સિલેબસ પૂરો એવું નથી. હું માસ્ટર્સ લેવલે ભણાવતા ચોથી, પાંચમી, સાતમી, આઠમી ધોરણના સવાલો વિદ્યાર્થીઓને પૂછું છું અને એમાંથી ઘણા લોકોને નથી. ત્યારે મારે એને કહેવું પડે કે જો નહીં આવડે તો આગળ જતા ક્યાં અટકશો તમે. And some of my students have come back and told me કે હા સર આપકો થતું હોય છે. એટલે whatever you have learned till date, all of that is useful. હરેક ચીજ તમે જે ભણ્યા છો એ ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક તમને ઉપયોગમાં આવવાની છે, કામમાં આવવાની છે. Right? So with that, let's go ahead and see as to what are we talking about. Primarily, we are talking about education in the new economy. Why should I talk economy? Uh, Anything that a human being does, either positively or negatively, contributes to the economy. તમે કંઈ પણ બી કરો અથવા તો ન કરો, દેશની ઇકોનોમીને એનાથી અસર થાય છે. And that is why whatever we teach in the classroom and whatever habits our students develop because of our habits and the way we talk to them, the way we treat them, they will learn to do certain things, they will learn not to do certain things, and all of that contributes to the economy. This is the new perspective which I try to bring in. And we all know how India has been changing. I'm sure you people have been watching the news, and there is a strong positive lobby now globally which is trying to talk about India in a very, very positive sense. અત્યાર સુધી દેશ દેશાવરમાં ભારતની એક નેગેટિવ છબી ઊભી કરવામાં આવેલી હતી. છેલ્લા થોડા વર્ષોથી આપણે જોઈએ છીએ કે એમાં પરિવર્તન આવ્યું છે. હવે ભારત એક સરસ જગ્યા છે, એક સારો દેશ છે એવું આપણે લોકોને કહેતા થયા છે અને લોકો માનતા પણ થયા છે. Within India also and outside India also, people do believe that yes, there is this new thing called India, and India is becoming a very well-known, I would say powerful today because there's a lot of things to do to become powerful. But yes, India is on the way to become a very powerful nation. And when I say powerful, I don't mean powerful by might only. I think today our leadership is also very powerful from their knowledge perspective. થોડા દિવસ પહેલા મારા એક મિત્રએ મને આપણા ફોરેન મિનિસ્ટરનો બાયોડેટા બ્રીફ મોકલેલો અને I was amazed to know that he can fluently communicate in 7 different languages internationally. એટલે આપણે એમ થાય કે ના પહેલા આવું બધું આપણે ફોરેનના માણસો વિશે સાંભળતા, but today our own Indian people are in the leadership who are able to do those kinds of things, right? One of the things is that happening is rapid transformation of global economy. Worldwide, everything is changing. Whatever you learned a year ago may not remain useful tomorrow. So it is not what you learned that is important, but what led you to learning that is what is important. Now I will tell you what I mean by that. કોઈ પ્રોફેસર ક્લાસમાં આવી અને કોઈ એક સિલેબસ ડિસ્કસ કરે તો એ સિલેબસ નક્કી કરવાની પાછળ the faculty will put in a lot of efforts to know what all should be taught to the students in the class. Now the concept has already come up in the new education policy. They have to define the program learning outcomes. એટલે હું ધારો કે MBA program ચલાવું છું. The MBA program, at the end of the MBA program, what all the students will have learned has to be predefined. After defining the program learning outcomes, we try to make a list of all the courses that could be included so that those program learning outcomes can be achieved. Now when I sit down to define those courses and prepare the syllabus of each and every course, I have to define course learning outcomes which contribute to the program learning outcomes. So never ever imagine કે ક્લાસમાં જે કંઈ થઈ રહ્યું છે just for the sake of it થઈ રહ્યું છે. There is a lot of logic, there is a lot of effort that has gone into deciding the how and why of what all should be spoken in the class. I have a niece who serves in a school in Mumbai, and she tells me that if she has a 35 minutes class, 35 minutes no class હોય, દરેક 2 મિનિટનું એને એકાઉન્ટિંગ આપવું પડે કે આવતીકાલે મારો જે 35 મિનિટનો ક્લાસ છે એમાં for every 2 minutes what will I be talking in the class, દરેક 2 મિનિટનું લખાણમાં હોવું જોઈએ. class comes and say, I will be saying this, after 2-3 minutes I will start talking this, after 2-3 minutes I will start talking this. For the entire 35 minutes you have to have a very, very well prepared lesson plan. And seniors will come and sit in the class unannounced, and they will observe whatever lesson plan she has given, whether she is following that lesson plan or not. And at the end of the month, she will be called for a meeting. There is the college principal and probably the senior principal will be sitting there, and they will tell her on which day, in which class, she committed what mistakes, so that she doesn't repeat those again. So, modern teaching learning is happening in a very different manner. And some of us have had to learn it in a very difficult way. મારી જ વાત કરું. આપણે તો શું એમજી સાયન્સમાં ભણતો ને અમદાવાદ હતો 195 જણનો ક્લાસ હતો. ઇંગ્લિશ મીડિયમનો ક્લાસ 195 સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ. પહેલી 15 બેન્ચ સુધી જ સંભળાય, પછી પાછા કોઈ કંઈ સંભળાય જ નહીં. કારણ કે માઇક સિસ્ટમ જેવી ત્યારે હતી નહીં. So, almost 80% of the class was just sitting there for the sake of it. કારણ કે attendance પણ નહોતી લેવાતી. પણ અમે એટલા ડાયા હતા કે આવી પરિસ્થિતિમાં જઈને બેસતા ખરા. ક્લાસ હંમેશા ભરેલો રહેતો. Right? And yeah, I believe some good learning must have happened because some of my batchmates have now become doctors and engineers, and therefore they must have learned something, right? But what I'm trying to tell you is that N.A. Patel was a chemistry teacher for us, and she was a brilliant teacher. How brilliantly she explains the various aspects of chemistry, right? But as an equation, if you have some people from the science background, then you may understand that there's a balancing of equations that requires to be done in chemistry. I was very bad at that. I mean, I'm very bad at so many things, but I think I understand. But what I'm trying to tell you is that even in those days, they used to work very hard in preparing the classes. For each and every class, they will come very well prepared. You know, academic if I have to do a case study in the class, I do 3 readings of the case. પહેલા તો એકવાર વાંચી દીધો ત્યારે નક્કી કરીએ કે we want to include this case in the syllabus. At that time I have read it and I have decided my lesson plan accordingly. That okay, when teaching this topic, this case will be useful in this manner. After that, 1 week before the actual class, I will read that case again and I will make some notes. After that, 2 days before the class, I will again go through the case, identify some important aspects, and in the last 10-15 days, whatever discussions have happened in the classroom, I will try to relate the case learnings to those very recent learnings, and I prepare my class notes from that basis. અને જે દિવસે ક્લાસ હોય એ દિવસે સવારે 8 વાગ્યા પછી ગમે ત્યારે ફરીથી મારી ક્લાસ નોટ એકવાર જોઈ લઉં અને કેસમાં કન્ફર્મ કરી લઉં કે હું અહીંયા આ કહેવા માંગુ છું કેસમાં પાછું એવી રીતે જ છે. There should not be any variation in the way it is mentioned in the case and the way I'm going to talk about it in the class. Because some of my students are very smart, right? And Micah and other places, they are brilliant students who come very well prepared for the class and they remember each and every word which is printed in the case. Whatever financial tables and those things are, exhibits are provided, they analyze all of those also very, very well, and therefore if I make a blunder, they will immediately say, sir, it is not like that. You are wrong. Now, another aspect of the modern way of teaching learning is that we are now allowing the student to tell the faculty, you are wrong. Now, earlier on, we were not having any freedom to talk back to our faculty. We could not tell the faculty anything. Whatever they say, Brahma Vakya. We used to accept it. Right? But now things are changing. And we are expected to allow our students to question the learning. We'll talk about that also. go ahead, right? More importantly, for the same job, for the same person, new additional credentials are required. Last week, my son completed one certificate program on media marketing. Okay, he is already a media executive with one of the top 5 advertising agencies of the world. Some of you might have heard the name WPP Group. Any agency, one of the agencies is Group L. He is already a media executive with that company since last 6 months. But last week he completed one more certification. And he has made a list of 3 others which he is going to do for the next 2 months. Continuous learning is a must. Anybody who believes that now that I have got a postgraduate degree, life is set, sorry, sir, life is beginning. Okay? Every 3 months you become obsolete from what all you learned in the past. Because things are changing so fast. For the same job, the same person will require new credentials, additional credentials to establish that yes, he is good enough for the job. Okay? So, all of you will have to put in a lot more efforts in your life than what we people have put in. You people are the unfortunate people who are born in a century that you will have to work very hard. Later, provide us all. You know the advertisement? You will also start feeling the same way about your life. And I'm telling you this from my own family experiences. My daughter got an admission at the University of Winchester, and she went there for the first 3 months. Because she was not able to understand anything. You know why? She tells me, Papa, I to ફક્ત સોમવારે સાંજે 4 થી 9 જ ક્લાસ હોય છે, એ સિવાય કોઈ ક્લાસ જ નથી. 21 લાખની ફી લીધી છે, અઠવાડિયામાં એક જ દિવસ ભણાવે છે. What do they mean? That's exactly what she learned subsequently, that most of the students spend 12 to 16 hours in the library. 8 થી 16 કલાક લાઇબ્રેરીમાં રોજના વિતાવવા પડે તો તમે એ 5 કલાકનો બેનિફિટ. That 4 to 9 p.m. class on different topics and subjects, you as a student had to be so well prepared that you will be able to collect the right kind of information. In your self-learning, whatever you were not able to understand, you can clarify those things with the faculty. There will not be any teaching happening. The teacher will not come with a PowerPoint presentation. Doesn't happen. Okay? So these are the new ways in which things are happening in the world. And then, of course, the digital technologies are destroying the traditional business models. Any which way the business was being done in the past, it's no more being done now. I'll give you a simple example of the taxi services in Mumbai. Some of you may know that there is a taxi called Kali, because its color is black and yellow, right? For decades, they have been doing fabulous business, earning a lot of livelihoods, and everything was going great. All of a sudden, a disruptive technology comes in, digital technology, and you have now the option of Uber. You have the option of Ola. Those Kali people tried to fight these developments initially, but very soon they realized that no, this competition is for real. They will have to work out ways and improve upon themselves if they want to continue in the same business. Right? So there's one example that I am trying to give you. Okay, many of you, or the youngsters, the others will know the concept of PCO, Public Call Office. I remember in Adipur there were 17 different PCOs. Adipur, when I used to come earlier on, I used to come in the visiting factory. So I have seen those in the marketplaces and all. Today you don't see almost any PCO. Right? Because in those days there was no mobile phone. When I was studying in Malvijanagar, if I had to talk to my family at Bhavnagar, I had to wait 2.5 hours. Ordinarily called Nagariya. I mean, some of you may not know what I am talking about. But you have to go to the PCO, the post office. There will be a counter where you go and give the number where you want to talk. And they will say, hello. You will have to wait. And then when your turn will come, that lady or gentleman will dial your number. if it rings and somebody picks up, you are able to talk. And there used to be a concept like PP, particular person. If I want to talk only with my father so that I don't waste money, I will have to book that PP phone, particular person phone. If I call my phone, so that I don't waste money. Okay? And then there was the concept of lightning call. If something was very urgent, I had to book a lightning call at 6 to 8 times the cost of an ordinary call. In between, there was another category called urgent calls. So these are the various ways in which things are happening. Today, all of that is gone. All the jobs have been taken away by Sam Pitroda when he brought in C-Dot in the country. Right? So, digital technologies are destroying the traditional business models. Innovative business models require different skill sets. Today, there will be lakhs of drivers driving the taxis and Ola and Uber vehicles. Okay? And Tesla is telling us that very soon you will have driverless taxi services. Now, the moment you have driverless taxi services, all these people are going to lose their jobs. What will they do then? They will have to work out something new, something different, right? So that they are able to remain relevant to the new economy and are able to do some kind of job which they need to continue to maintain their family, right? So innovative business models require different skill sets and you will have to learn them as you go ahead in life. Recently, I have joined an institute in Adipur, it's called Tolani Institute of Digital Technology Management. They have a learning system, okay, LMS we call it, learning management system, and they have those electronic boards. So everything happens by touch. They are touch screens, 6 feet by 4 feet, touch screens. I start my laptop and it gets connected with that screen without any wire or anything, Wi-Fi connectivity, and I just have to touch the screen to either make the image large, or if I do this, then the image will become smaller. If I want to turn the page, I just simply touch the screen and the page will be turned, Well, I don't know all these things. But at this age of 63, 64 now, I am learning those systems. Okay? I have to. If I want to remain relevant to the new academics of the world. Okay? I used to have a green board. I don't know why you're coming, but classroom માં blackboard હોય પછી green board આવ્યા કાચના board એની ઉપર ચોકથી લખતા અને મને એમ છે મને અર્થમાં એમાં થઈ ગયો, right? But that was what we started off with, and then we got those overhead projectors. We used to write the slides and then present it on the overhead projectors. My boss then brought in a laser printer, and instead of writing the slides, we started printing them, and it used to look beautiful. Those are the practical. But today we don't have to do that. Right? When I started off, there were no computers, forget PowerPoint. Then gradually PowerPoint happened and we all had to learn PowerPoint presentations and all the techniques of PowerPoint presentations and all. I am still not good at it. Some of my students have helped me create some good PowerPoints. I'm fortunate enough to say that this PowerPoint presentation is entirely my own creation. I have done it all on my own. But several presentations, I have taken help from my students. They don't actually say, they will come and help me and the PowerPoint presentation will be created. Right? So, we have to learn all this thing. And then there is this AI/ML, which is transforming work. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. I don't know how many of you have an exposure to these concepts, but all of this is happening in real life. Earlier you start learning them, the better it's going to be for you. And then if there is a student of commerce sitting here and he or she is thinking, if artificial intelligence to control machine learning, engineers, machine learning, you are in error. You will have to learn the mechanics of AI and ML, because your life is otherwise going to become miserable as you go ahead. આજે હું જ્યારે PDITM માં ક્લાસમાં જાઉં છું તો મને એ જ ડર હોય that if I make a blunder in the classroom because I don't know the new technology, how am I going to cover up for that? Right? So if you don't learn about all these things, every day you will be as tense as what I am when I go to the IITM class. At other places, I don't have any problem because they are still using the ordinary PowerPoint system and those kinds of things, so no problems. But when I go to these classes, which are modern classes with all the modern gadgetry and everything, it is supposed to help the faculty in a very big way, yes. But for that, the faculty will have to learn, right? So I'm kind of learning the bicycle of modern technologies of academics, okay? So AI is transforming work and automation. Such a lot of things happening automatically world over, right? So you will have to learn how to interact with machines, not only computers, but other machines also. What example I can give, I have recently experienced. I have always driven a car with a gear system, okay? And my daughter now has bought a new car, Tata, what is it called? Taiwan. And she has bought an automatic car. There is no gear shift required. The gear shifts on their own. Several times I make the blunder of using the gear handle, though I know it is not supposed to be used. In that automatic car, there are only two gears that can happen. One is forward and you keep on going and going and going. If you put it forward, then it's a reverse gear. ચાલુ ગાડી એ 37 સ્પીડે જતા જતા મારે પાંચમા ગેરમાં ગાડી નાખવી હોય તો મારું અને રિવર્સમાં ગિયર પડે, right? And my daughter, if she is sitting with me, she will shout, "Papa!" You know, it happens that way. So if you don't learn, this is going to happen with you people also, okay? ચેતવણી છે જે લોકો પાછળ બેઠા છે એ લોકો આગળ બેઠા જે લોકોને એ તો નોકરીમાં ચાલુ રહ્યું તો બધું શીખવું પડશે કે આગળ વધવું હશે તો બધું શીખવું પડશે, રાઈટ? PhD થઈ જાય એટલે બધું થઈ ગયું એવું નથી, right? I did my PhD in 2002-3, okay, but I am learning now. So things are changing and you will have to change. And then of course we talk about the industrial revolution and education. Currently we talk about industry 4.0. આમ તો છે ને સોફ્ટવેર વાળા બધું લઈ આવ્યા છે, 4.0 ને 4.1 ને 4.2 ને વર્ઝન આવતા છે. તમારા મોબાઈલ ફોનમાં એને અપડેટ્સ આવતા છે ને, OS ના કે iOS ના whatever it's called, you know. I also keep on getting in, sometimes I do and do not do that, and sometimes I tell my children to help me with the phone, and so many things keep on happening. But industry is changing. It is not that new technologies are coming in. New ways of interacting with the technologies are coming up. That is what's more difficult. Major more difficult. I learned driving at the age of 14. So you can count the arithmetic. I'm 64 now. How many years ago I learned? But I'm relearning how to drive a Tata Taiwan. And Tata is one of the world brands of India. Right? हमारा BMW के Audi की बात करिए तो हमें लोग क्या सीखनी पड़े. But अब Tata Taiwan की बात. I have to learn how to drive that car. Okay? So this is what I mean when we're talking about industrial revolution and the education. It is the changes that are happening in the technology and the changes that you have to do in yourself in order to be able to interact with the current technology, right? And we are going to soon have Industry 5.0, and then very soon we will have Industry 6.0. I have put them in very light print because I don't want to get you people too frightened. You should be frightened, but not too much, right? But yes, this will require new processes and new systems of interaction. And that's what's going to be required as you go ahead in your life, right? These are the skills that are required in the 21st century. There have been people talking about this for 20 years, and a recent report on what has happened in up to 2020, it says that though we have understood this, though we have been talking about this for years together, 20 years now, things are not as great as they should be. Okay? neither the students have understood nor the teachers have understood what requires to be done in order to inculcate the 21st century skills. And what are these 21st century skills? They are distributed over three kinds of things. One is the learning skills. I will briefly say that learning skills talk about how you learn. And everybody, as I'm telling you my own experience, everybody has to learn continuously. The day I stop learning, I will become redundant. Right? Nobody will be wanting me to come and teach at their institute. Okay? The learning has to become lifelong. Continuously, you have to keep on upgrading yourself, your skill, your knowledge, your ability. Everything has to keep on rising every day. And then let me tell you another thing. Commerce. So, all of you understand the concept of inflation? What do you call inflation? Fugao. Yeah. I believe all of you understand Fugao. The Fugao no matlab શું થાય? What is the meaning of Fugao? Inflation. I have a different view on this. Some of you may know about it, but this is how I understand it. Inflation means if you want to remain in the same place, you have to run faster than what you have been doing last year. Okay? So when I say there is a 7% inflation, it means that the cost of living is increasing by 7%. So if I want to maintain my quality of life or standard of living at the same which it was last year, I have to earn at least 7% more than what I earned last year. And some of you people who are employed in the primary age institution, they know that the increments that are given are only 3%. Not more than 3% increment is given by the government. But yes, you have the DA, dearness allowance, which keeps on increasing every 3 months. But having done a lot of arithmetic on this, I have come to understand that even those people in government jobs, they find it difficult within the first 3 years to cope up with inflation. Because no organization can give you a benefit more than what they are able to garner from the industry. Right? Only in the IT sector you see a lot of growth because because a lot of new things keep on happening, the margins are very high and the companies are able to give you raises and increase your salaries and all those things. Other than that, nowhere, in no other industry are you able to claim more than what you claimed last year. Right? So this is my take on inflation. If you want to maintain your quality of life, standard of living, you will have to earn 7 to 12% more. Okay? And today my daughter bought a Tiger. Okay? Now, if she wants to buy another car, Tiger would be 8, 9, 10 lakhs. If she wants to buy a 12, 15 lakhs car, then you understand what I mean to say. She will be able to sustain a Tiger by doing the same thing and plus 7% the inflation, right? But if she wants to shift to a new vehicle, then she will have to work much, much more harder. So friends, till the time you are able to get an increment of 20 to 25%, you are not growing. Okay? So you may want to do whatever with your life, but you should see to it that every 2-3 years you get a sizable jump. Now you get a jump only if the company believes that you are worth more than what you were last year. Once again, continuous learning, continuous upgradation. If you keep on doing it, you will be able to achieve that. I was very fortunate to be in a government university when I did my PhD, and the rule of the government says that the day you complete your PhD, you get 2 increments. Okay? And I had a very friendly boss. My thesis was ready in the month of August. He said, "Hemant bhai, अपने आपका thesis है ना अभी नहीं सबमिट करेंगे." तैयार हो गया तो 4 साल से मैं क्यों ऐसा कह रहा हूँ? नहीं सर, ऐसा है कि आपको ना ये PhD खत्म होते ही 2 इंक्रीमेंट मिलेंगे। अब ना आपके 4 साल हो चुके हैं, तो अभी जो आपका इंक्रीमेंट है वो 325 रुपया है। जब आपके 4 साल अक्टूबर में खत्म हो जाएंगे, तो नवंबर से आपका इंक्रीमेंट है वो 475 हो जाएगा। Now you decide whether you want to take the 2 increments now or you want to take them in November afterwards. very small arithmetic. But friends, those who are in the government, they know that these things have a very long-term effect. Okay? It so happened, he was also an associate professor, I was an assistant professor, but because of this calculation that he did, at the end of that year, my salary was a few rupees more than his salary. He knew this because he had done the calculations. He was my boss. But he helped me in this manner. What I'm trying to tell you is, everybody in this world will be your friend if you maintain your relations with them in that manner. Right? When the opening was there for an associate professor position, we were two people, assistant professors, and one of them would get the job. Not both of them were going to get the job. So my friend, my colleague, he said, Hemant, don't worry. Because I didn't come from the academics, he knew that I did not know how to fill up the form and how to include the right kind of things and attachments and all those things. He said, I will prepare your application. अरे 5-5 6 7 कॉपी में एप्लीकेशन आपके पास 5 जाता है अटैचमेंट लगाना पड़ता है उसके बाद So my friend who was my competitor in that interviews, he prepared my application. We both went to the university offices together and filed my application. And when the interviews happened and the result came out, I was selected, he was not. But even today, we maintain a fabulous relationship. Okay? So that's what's going to be very important for all of you people. Make strong friends, great friends, and maintain those whatever you have to do. He has sacrificed such a lot of things for me. Right? When he retired in the government job, he must have got 1.some crore rupees. Okay? If he had become an associate professor at that time, that 1.something crore would have been nearly 2 crores. Right? These are the kind of benefit that senior professors are able to get from the government nowadays. Okay? So these are some of the things that you have to understand. The learning skills, what I'm talking about. I'm giving all these examples because learning skills are not just related with the job that you're doing, the task at hand. No, a much more broader perspective you have to have. The other is literacy skills. Well, the moment I got my PhD, I thought I was literate. After academics, my highest degree મેળવી. Then I started realizing that there is something called postdoctoral research also. Then later on I came to know that after your doctorate, you can still do one more doctorate of a higher level, right? And then very senior professors are doing that. I thought I will do it, but never got down to it. Also, so I wasn't able to do it, right? But yes, you have to continuously keep yourself in the learning mode. Once again, literacy. Never ever think that you studied enough. You have never studied enough. Whatever be your job, whatever be your profession, right? And then of course the life skills, how to live life. I mean, our family, our parents, our relatives, they all teach us how to live life. Our teachers in the schools and colleges also taught us how to live life. But over a period of time, those learnings tend to evaporate. When we get experiences in life, we start thinking that the sir was saying like this or madam was saying like this, but that is not how it happens here. Right? I'll give you an example of corruption. I have a friend in Bangladesh who is an industrialist, and you know how corrupt government officers can be. If there is some sitting here, please excuse me, I am talking from my own personal experience. I have paid cash to people and I know what I am talking about. Okay? That gentleman told me, Hemant, my industry is good enough, it's been growing, but till date I have not spent a single rupee on corruption. And he was already a millionaire at that time. So, it is not a must to give in to corruption. It's only a question of fighting the system and knowing your business good enough, well enough. If you know what you're talking about, any officer will have to agree to whatever you are saying. And yes, Dheeraj, you will have to be patient in life. Because many a time, my observation has been that And the officer is sitting on the file doing nothing, just so that you become tense enough that you become ready to pay. Jaldi kaam kar. Don't get into that kind of a theory at all. These are the kind of learning that I'm talking about, life skills. You will have to learn how to deal with a lot of different kinds of things. Okay? Everything is happening everywhere. How you come across people is going to be the most important. Right? And I'm having a continuous fight with my own children every day because they have some new ideas about how life should be lived. I have some very traditional ideas of how life should be lived, and we keep fighting every day. Now, two of them are not in my hometown and not my home, so we fight over WhatsApps and video calls and those kinds of things. My daughter is living with us, so we fight over a dining table, right? So fights keep on happening. You will also face all these kind of things with your parents, with your children, wherever, whatever applies, right? So life skills you will have to learn in a big way. And then, of course, now we come to the kind of understanding of what we are talking about, right? Challenging the conventional wisdom. All my predecessors in academics, all my seniors in academics have been very, very wise, very intelligent. That's why they reached where they reached. Okay? With due respect to them, it is high time now to challenge that wisdom. Because wisdom is also contextual. Right? Wisdom is also contextual. I will tell you what I mean by that. Dogs are different kinds of dogs, okay? I mean, there is a breed called Pomeranian. Some of you might have seen a Pomeranian, a white, fluffy, long hairs kind of small thing, right? And then there are these Dobermans. Some of you might have seen some Doberman dogs. You enter a house and you see a dog. Now, how are you going to deal with the dog will differ based on what kind of a dog it is. If it is a Doberman, you better go out and close the door. Okay? Otherwise, you will headache. Even today, you have to take 14 injections. The smaller course is much more difficult. Okay? They are very difficult. Okay? But if it is a Pomeranian, no problem. You walk in, It's a playful kind of a dog. You keep on barking forward, keep on jumping and those kinds of things. But you don't have to bother about it. So, I tell my students that whenever I come to the class, I know which of this is a Pomeranian and which of this is a Doberman. Okay? And I deal with my students accordingly. Please, faculty, learn this. You also in your classes have this kind of breeds of human beings. Right? I'm not trying to say this in a negative way. Please don't take it that I'm talking of school to the dog. No. That is only an example. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is, as I told you earlier, some of my students come very, very well prepared in the class, and the smallest error I make, they point out. Okay? They will stand up, or even many a time they don't even stand up because I don't make it a point that students should stand up and see what he wants to talk. I allow them to sit wherever they are sitting and discuss whatever they want to discuss. Right? So sitting on his or her chair, he will say, "Sir, you are not right. This is not how it is." And then I will ask her to explain or him to explain, because he or she will have read somewhere more accurately. More research work will have gone into her work or his work. I have to respect that. Right? And then there are those others who are very playful, And they, whatever you tell them, they will have a broad smile on their face. You can't do anything about it. समय अपना जीवन में कहीं फेर करना है. So what do you do with those kinds of people? See, they are still your students. You can't leave them alone, right? At the end of the day, they have to learn. Okay? But then, with those kind of people also, there are methodologies, there are tricks that you use so that they also learn in the flow, right? I will talk about it as we go ahead, but yes, the context. The context is changing. It is changing in terms of economics. It is changing in terms of demographics. It is changing in terms of technologies. There are all these kinds of challenges that are emerging on a daily basis. Every day, things are changing, and you have to update yourself to those things, right? And of course, some of you may know what is VUCA. The environment is VUCA. Okay? It is very volatile. Things keep on happening every day. New things keep on happening every day in life, and therefore it's very, very volatile. It is very uncertain. Uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Right? All of you are aware of the Russia-Ukraine war. We are still waiting what will happen if it actually escalates to a world war. It's not going to happen in what most of us believe. Right? But recently, some of you may know that the Indian armed forces made a blunder and a rocket was fired into Pakistan. So you know about this? Last month or 2 months ago, the Indian armed forces fired a missile into Pakistan, and then they say it was by mistake. If this kind of mistakes are committed with nuclear warheads, you know what can happen, right? So we don't know what can possibly happen. That's what I mean when I say uncertain. And then of course complex. So many things impact the smallest possible thing in life, and you have to be very conscious and cautious as to what can happen and how my life can change. Smallest possible decisions that you take have so many factors influencing. Some of you people who have studied consumer behavior will know there's so many different things that impact a consumer and his behavior, right? One of my friends and colleague at MICA is shifted to Germany for a postdoctoral research, and his research was focused on in the retail store, they would videograph the facial expression of the customers as they walk in the aisles and they look at different brands. That videos and the expressions in those videos which were captured were then correlated scientifically with the actual purchases that the person goes out with. And they were trying to make out that if a certain kind of expression is there on the face, then a positive purchase happens. If some other kind of expression is there, then definitely the purchase is not going to happen. Now, having learned this, they were trying to work out ways and means of how to generate those kinds of expressions which will lead into a positive purchase. Right? आपने तो कहीं खबर ही नहीं but आपको the experience of Chanda. You will see only one notice, and the notice will say you are under CCTV camera coverage. That's all. What are they doing with the images that they are capturing? What are they doing with the videos they are capturing? They never tell you. And that's the focus of the institute which I have joined. Data analytics, big data analytics, as they call it. There is such a lot of data that is getting generated and created day in, day out. How you analyze that data? What are different kinds of analysis can be possibly done on those data, and how you can generate new insights, new learnings out of those results of those analysis. Very, very great things are being learned. And my friend told me when he visited Google headquarters Germany, the officer at the headquarters was showing them around the Google facilities. He told them, Dr. Trivedi, Dr. Trivedi, I can assure you that I know more about you than what you know about yourself. Google ने तुम्हारी इतनी बड़ी खबर से कि तुमने right? Every Google numbers, and the day they want to make use of this, they can, and they are. Okay, most of you must be using your mobile phones, and you know different kinds of advertisements keep on coming on your mobile. You may get some SMSs or some kinds of messages, or when you use your Facebook, some advertisement will pop up. How is all this happening? That is all happening because of your usage patterns. What kind of search you did. When I thought that there was this concept in Google, you know, there is this concept of incognito mode. It says you can go into an incognito mode, then nobody will know what you've been surfing. But that's the need. Even in an incognito mode, Google knows what you've been doing, and they are tracking it. Okay? So never ever imagine that you're safe in this world. So I used to be worried about my safety, security, and all those kinds of things. Password, all kinds of things we believe in. But since the last 7 years, I have stopped bothering about it. મને મારા વિશે જે ખબર છે એની કરતા જો કોઈને વધારે ખબર છે પછી આપણે શું બંધાવવાનું? Right? It doesn't make sense because there are softwares available that can crack whatever kind of a password you make. Right? અને પછી જો 35 કેરેક્ટરનો પાસવર્ડ બનાવો તમે જ ભૂલી જાઓ. Doesn't make sense actually, right? So I don't bother about it. મારા ફોનમાં જ મારા પાસવર્ડ સેવ કરેલા છે જેને જોવા જોઈએ. Right? મારા બેંકમાં એટલા બધા પૈસા કોઈ દી નથી કોઈને એમાંથી ઉઠાવવાનું બંધ થાય. Right? અને હવે લોકો બેંકમાં પૈસા રાખતા નથી. Right? One of my friends who is in real estate, he told me, see, whenever I buy a new plot of land, I pay only 30% by check. 70% I will receive by cash. Modi sahab actually very rada કરે છે. No corruption, no black money. એટલે આવી વાત કરો. એ એમનું કામ કરે આપણે કામ કરવાનું હોય. Right? This is what he told me. Okay. એટલે કે સાહેબ જો મારે જે અલગ અલગ પ્રકારની આવક થતી હોય બધી આવકનો ટેક્સ ભરવા માંગતો હું ને મારી નોકરી કેવી આવક હોય છે. Some of you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay? All kinds of business happen in the world. So he was trying to explain to me that there are incomes which I can't show you that I want to show. Okay, one of my other friends from the GEP in those days, he got a bill for 3.5 lakh rupees. He was in the plastic manufacturing industry and he got a bill of 3.5 lakh rupees. So he went to the GEP office and he said, "If there are bill for this is the wrong bill. I will request you to make changes as per your record. Whatever you may do your inspection and all. The rule says that you have to first make the payment and then argue. GEP no rule ever said, even telephone no rule ever. First you make the payment and then you come and file a complaint. We will look into it afterwards." You know what my friend was bothered about? He said, "Sir, please understand. It is not that I don't have 3.5 lakh rupees. But I don't have 3.5 lakh rupees in my bank account. And if I put it into my bank account and pay this bill, the income tax people are going to ask me, where did this 3.5 lakh came from? Who will answer that? So my request is that please make installments." તો બધા 3.5 લાખ ભરી દઈશ. પણ મને તેને 4 મહિનાનો ટાઈમ આપો. So that every month I can pay some amount of it and I don't get catch up with the income tax people. This is real life story. Anybody wants to meet the gentleman, you can come to Maldives with me and I will introduce you to that person, okay? So these are the things that are happening. Life is very, very complex and ambiguous. Very ambiguous. We think we know everything. We think we know a lot of things, but when you actually start getting into some kinds of activities and jobs and those things, you don't know a lot of things. Okay? So VUCA is a very important characteristic of the new environment. And then of course need to plan ahead, plan short. As I just told you, the life is so difficult and everything is changing so fast. You can't plan long term. Okay? The technologies are changing so fast that you can't plan for a long term, you have to plan for the short term. And when you're planning for the short term, obviously you have to fast decision making, you have to do decisions very, very fast. Right? So you need quick decisions and a lot of flexibility because now you decide something and tomorrow you come to know that things have changed. For example, GST, General Sales Tax. I mean, every now and then they are making changes in the policies of GST. Right? So today my company may take a call that okay, I will do things like this, and within 3-4 months the GST policy changes. I have to change everything that I do, including the software for making my bills. I have to change that. All of you are going to the petrol pump, right? And there is that fixed price of fuel that you see in the petrol pump every day. And every day the price is changing. So the people will have to make changes in the software that is managing that vending machine. Every day it has to be manipulated. Every day it has to be changed. A lot of reprogramming keeps on happening day in, day out. Right? So that is what we are talking about. You need quick decisions and a lot of flexibility in your decisions. Right? And then the stakeholder engagement. In academics, we have faculty, we have staff other than faculty, we have students, and we have parents. I'm not talking of some other stakeholders here, right? Because it was not the right platform to talk about that. I have very great experience in that area also. I can talk to you about them outside this platform, okay? But faculty, each and every faculty is brilliant within the limits of his or her knowledge. Brilliant, that's it, right? What is an MBA? Some of you might be MBA students here, right? મને બધું આવડે. Right? That's an MBA. એ જ નથી, નવું નથી કાંઈ, વર્ષોથી ચાલે. Right? Every human being thinks that he or she knows whatever is required to know. But that is one of the biggest challenges that we face as human beings. આપણે ઘણા બધા મહાનુભાવો વિશે વાંચ્યું છે કે they say Einstein, even after having given so many scientific things, he would say that I think of myself as a small boy walking on the seashore, picking up the pebbles of knowledge. Right? Now, if that great man can also be so humble, how can we claim that we know whatever needs to be known? Right? Right? I keep talking to my students in management. We talk about synergy. What is synergy? Right? So I ask, what is 2 plus 2? What is 2 plus 2? Commerce? 4? You're sure? This is where commerce and management is different. In management, 2 plus 2 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 22, whatever you want to make it. So now, if the teacher asks, what is 2 plus 2? A smart student will say, sir, right? Because there is no end to new developments in life, So many things are changing so fast. The whole meaning of the figure 2 will be different, right? And it is, and I'll give you some examples later on, right? So we are talking about engaging with faculty. We are talking about engaging with the students. Now, what do you mean by engaging with students? At Flame University, my school was known Flame School of Communication, FSC. And we were teaching courses like digital marketing and film and television and those kind of things. So my students had to prepare films, they had to prepare episodes of serials. Okay? So they would be found roaming around the whole campus, trying to find out locations and places where they can do some shooting and those kind of things. They would be roaming around with cameras and all those things. So the business school students who were very seriously studying in the classroom, case studies and all those things, these boys and girls are just chilling, they're just enjoying life. So that was being spoken in a negative connotation. Yeah, Flame School of Communication, they have nothing serious to learn about. They just keep on roaming around the campus and God knows what they are doing. So at one of the platforms, I had to say, and that's what I mean when I say engaging with the students. I say that yes, my school is known as the Flame School of Chilling, but why? Because of one thing. My students do what they like, and my students like what they do. If you allow these two things, your relations with your students will be the greatest. Let them do what they like, and let them like whatever they do. Right? So give assignments which are entertaining and enjoyable, but the learning should also happen. Right? So this is the logic of relations with the students, right? And then of course, staff members, Flame, Micah again was a very different kind of experience. My director was smart enough that when faculty and students were being sent abroad for what was known as global immersion, right? He said that, students are learning a lot of new things, the faculty is also going and learning a lot of new things, but when they come back, they have to deal with the same accounts people, they have to deal with the same program people, they have to deal with the same admin people, facilities people. Now, this admin, accounts and facilities people, they don't know what is happening in the world. These people are going and learning those things. So my administration staff will also go abroad. Right? So manager administration and manager accounts were both sent to France to study how accounting and general facilities management is happening in institutions in France. So that when they come back to Micah, they are able to interact better with the faculty and students because now they also know where the world is going. Right? Without that exposure, they will never know. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about stakeholder engagement. And then of course parents. All kinds of parents take the word. And I tell you frankly, those who are students here, I have told this at several platforms in the past. In case of studies, parents are the nastiest thing that can happen to children. Right? If you allow my language, pattar kokina. Acid, right? Well, I'm very lucky to have allowed my children to do whatever. To the extent that when one of my sons gave me 4 red lines in his report, I said, great, let's go and have an ice cream. Okay? Not many parents are able to do this. And they are behind the child, you know. ત્રાસવાદીઓની જેમ બંદૂક લઈને જ પકડાવે. કાંઈ ઊંઘે ચાકરી કે ગુમ. Right? That is what parents are doing to the students today. So the faculty also has to interact with the parents and explain to them that not all students have to become doctors. Not all students have to become engineers. There is a lot of scope in cricket in India. Right? It's a level of probability they get that. And they don't cricket no hindu, then pachu no. Right? There's a lot of scope. So allow them to evolve in the way in which they want to evolve. There are opportunities everywhere. And friends, everybody doesn't have to be a millionaire. Mukesh Ambani, છેલ્લા 10 વર્ષથી કહીએ વર્લ્ડનો richest person, એશિયાનો richest person થતો. છેલ્લે 2 મહિનામાં શું થયું? અદાણી સાહેબ થઈ ગયા. મુકેશની આગળ. રાઈટ? અને મોરિસ સાહેબ આવ્યા હતા ઇંગ્લેન્ડથી. તો મુકેશ સાહેબ મળ્યા નહીં. Life is going to change. Okay? So be prepared with this kind of philosophy. Let the parents also understand this. That everybody doesn't have to become what you want them to become. Let them also become what they can become, what they want to become, what they like to become. Okay? So faculty interaction with parents is a very, very important thing. At Flame and other places, at Gurgaon also, we used to have monthly parent-teacher meeting. Even during COVID, we were holding online parent-teacher meeting. Okay, so that we can inform what all is happening in the life of the student. What are the expectations of the parents and how we are going to meet those expectations through their children. Right? And wherever the parents are not correct, we can also tell them, don't think of that. It can't happen. Your child cannot do this. Please understand. Please accept. And because there is a regular dialogue happening, they are also able to put trust on what the teacher is saying. Okay? That trust has to be developed by the faculty with the teacher government. And then of course board support, the top management also has to support whatever is happening at the school level. Right? There should be more of governance, but less of interference, right? Because the gentleman, Harvard President Charles Taylor, in 1869, what he has said, a good past is positively dangerous. તમારો બહુ જ સરસ સોનિયાની ભૂતકાળ હોય ને બહુ જ નુકસાનકારક છે. Why? If it makes us content with the present and so unprepared for the future, because of the great past, you are in a very comfortable position. You are in a grand comfort zone, and that's what makes you pathetic. Okay? You will stop growing. You will stop working hard because you're sitting on your laurels of the past. Don't get into that kind of situation. Okay? And prepare always for a very, very VUCA future. Right? So that's what I want to say in terms of challenging the conventional wisdom, and rethinking the conventional wisdom. A well-rounded, people have been telling us that we should have a well-rounded personality, right? But that's not enough now. We have to now start thinking in terms of a thoughtful differentiation. But that's mechanical engineer. जो एक सरखा होए तो नौकरी कोने वाला है? Simple question. It's a very simple question. If all the mechanical engineers are of the same capabilities, who should be given the job? That's where we talk about thoughtful differentiation. Even within mechanical engineering, you can differentiate yourself through the kind of work that you do, the kind of project that you do, the way you present your assignments, everything that you do in a day-to-day life, in terms of academics, it can be done differently. If you are able to do it, you will stand out. Within the same class of mechanical engineers, this is only an example, you may talk about BCom graduates. How many of you know how many BCom graduates pass out every year in Gujarat? How many BCom graduates pass out nationally? It is in lakhs. Okay? Why should a company select you and give a job to you rather than all those 150 others who are also passing out from the same university? Right? That is where you have to try and differentiate yourself. And those days are gone. No, it doesn't happen that way. Right? World has changed. You have to genuinely outshine the other in true sense. Because otherwise the companies have ways and means of knowing what you have been doing. If you have done something here and there, they know about it and you will not get a job. Even if you are able to give the best possible presentation, you do the best possible interview, something in the past you have done will haunt you and you will not get a job. Okay? So be very careful on a day-to-day basis what is happening in your life, what you allow to happen in your life. Right? So rather than a well-rounded personality, think of some thoughtful differentiation. Doing fewer things, but better. You may do a few things, but you should be doing it better than the others. Then you will be identified that yes, this is the guy I want. Right? For example, if we come to something for auditing, everybody does the same principles of auditing, right? Now, if I am coming to your institute for taking interviews, will I ask you simple questions of auditing only? I will try to find out that some spark in one of you so that you will be useful for my organization, right? In Rajkot, there are a lot of oil mills, okay? In and around Rajkot, there are a lot of oil mills. So the person who comes from there, he may still be looking for an internal auditor, but he will prefer a guy who understands the oil business, right? So if any one of you knows what is groundnut oil, you have a higher propensity to get selected in the entire 150 other BCom students who may be there, or the 80 or 90 auditing students who may be there. This is what I mean when I say thoughtful differentiation, doing fewer things but doing things better, right? So the faculty also has to be able to identify what a student can possibly do better, right? And then see to it that he or she does it, learns it, and is able to then perform better when the time comes, okay? And then of course, diversity and inclusion is another very important aspect of teaching learning systems. Students and teachers profiling. Intelligent teachers always take a profile of each and every student. Most of the time, I have been asking my class, please introduce yourself in 3 or 4 lines. That tells me what kind of a background does the person come from, right? That also tells me, I have been a teacher of communication also in my MBA teaching and to teach organizational communication and those kinds of subjects. So listening to somebody tells me what are the capabilities the person has and what are the lacking that person may be having. And then I am able to differentiate some people with whom I will not have to do a lot of effort. But I am also able to identify those with whom I will have to do a lot of effort in order to bring them to a common level where my MBA students should be. Okay? So as a faculty, in the class as well as outside the class, I have to do a lot of exercises. At several places, in several batches, I have asked for the entire admission application form data. You will always maintain an Excel file of the application data, wherein you mention everything about yourself. Right? I will go through that in detail and try to understand why a person is behaving the way he or she is behaving. It is there somewhere in the background. You should be able to make it up. Right? And sometimes I have called students for a one-to-one interaction also to try and understand them better so that I am able to help them improve upon themselves, right? Because ultimately, what is the goal of learning? What is the goal of a student being a student? He wants to improve upon himself or herself, and that's what our job is. We have to try and facilitate that. So everything that I do, it has to be focused on enhancement of the skills and knowledge of the student. However, it can happen. You know, in Gujarati, in Kathiyawad, they say, you have to take out the key. And every student is brilliant. Please let me tell you. Every student is brilliant. It's only a question of being able to identify the brilliance and build upon that brilliance. And the student will be able to do great things in life. Right? Those of you who read about the biographies of great people, you will know. Right? Einstein, for example, was very poor at calculating perturbation. Right? If you ask him to give some change, he will not be able to explain that to you. Right? In the local buses, when he would give a $1 note and the change is given back, he will find it difficult to know how much he should be getting back. This kind of stories are written, and these are realities. So please find out what a person is good at, how can he build upon that capability, and then everything will be great. And most of you must have seen the movie called Tare Zameen Par, and you know what I'm talking about from that perspective, right? And yes, this is how you are going to be able to achieve above average performance from everybody. Okay, and then of course creatively creating student experiences. Meaning to say, the students are there in front of you, and you have to create a positive experience. The student has to get a strong positive experience, and you have to do whatever needs to be done in order to create that positive experience. And for that, you have to be very creative, right? It is not only the painters who do great paintings and are creative. I have known brilliant teachers who are very creative in the way they conduct classes. At IIM, we have. Please excuse me for half a minute. I try to drink only warm water because it helps maintain my throat. Thank you very much. Yeah. So being creative. I was telling you about Professor M.R. Dixit. Anybody who has interacted with the gentleman, he does fabulous board work. Chalk on a board. 3 કલાકનો સેશન ક્યાં વયું જાય ખબર ન પડે. He was so good. He is so good at board work. I have not seen in my entire 35 years of career anybody who is so great at doing board work. Some BA, if you have relatives in the BA category, they are taught how to do board work, good board work. Okay? But nothing comes to par with evaluation. A brilliant faculty who uses the board very, very creatively. He will start in one of the corners of the board, and then gradually he will keep on writing things here, there, and everywhere. And at the end of the class, he will draw some lines, and you will know how everything is so well connected. Okay? One body will write here, another he will write there, then he will write something here, then write something here. But at the end of the day, at the end of the class, he is able to connect everything so well that the whole concept that he was trying to teach you becomes absolutely clear in your mind. तो मैं किधर कॉपी कराया एकेडमिक में कॉपी कराया that 2003 month after completing the FDP where he taught us भावनगर में नई कोशिश करी थी to develop good board work. Not ashamed, I failed miserably. I could not achieve even 10% of what he was able to do. Okay, because I do believe that everybody is good at something. Not everybody is good at everything. There is no equivalent of M.R. Dixit even at IIM Ahmedabad. Okay? It is only M.R. Dixit who can do it that way. There are others who do it differently. There is another guy who taught us at the FDP. I forget the name. brilliant gentleman who became the director of IIM Indore subsequently, and he introduced an undergraduate program at IIM Indore. Very surprisingly, right? But that is what he did. I really remember the name. He will come and the table will be there. So he will sit on the table. I will table to bed for Maharaj Desai. And then he will start asking, so Hemant, how have you prepared for the case today? Yeah, Gaurav, would you want to tell us what he is saying? Is it true? What Hemant has told, is it true? Page number 6. Did you refer to para 3? And then he will tell about the character who has spoken something in that paragraph. Everything is in the mind. He doesn't use the board at all. He doesn't use the PowerPoint at all. Okay? But he will conduct a class so strongly that not a single participant could move here or there. कोई विद्यार्थी ताकत नहीं कि एना क्लास में हम पहचान कर सकें. That brilliant faculty he is, right? And friends, I have been very fortunate to have interacted with those kind of people and studied under those kind of people a few courses, right? I have already told you that I tried doing those kind of things and failed miserably, right? But then I must have done some other things well enough to be able to grow to wherever I have been able to grow, right? I never wanted to be the director I am at the Baroque. I knew that's not going to happen. The day I was rejected from the IIM admission in as early as 1981-82, आपने खबर थी IIM उनका आपने माने चेक, right? Why think of things that you cannot do? हमारा family का knowledge story बनाया है तो बस आपने chicken गंभीर तो सरल हुआ आपने वो, it's something like that, right? So know your limits very well and behave accordingly, right? And that is also another part of creatively creating student experiences. You should know what a student is capable of and give those students that kind of positive experiences so that they are able to achieve their best, right? And then of course contribute to students' emotional and physical well-being. Many a times we come across news that the teacher slapped the student and those kinds of things keep on happening. Never ever do that. Not required. Right? My father has never slapped me. जिंदगी में कोई दिवस मैंने आपको नहीं कहा मैंने नहीं मारा भाइयों बहनों को कोई नहीं था हम सब बहने को मैं ठीक है तो ये हुई है my father never hit us but none of us were ever able to talk against him okay એમની સાથે ઊંચા અવાજે વાત કરવાની હિંમત જ ન થાય right without having hit us okay the way he will talk automatically you cannot do anything you just have to simply listen to whatever he is saying even if you don't want to agree you may say we have to call him by you will say by you can't say you can't do that right but he will listen to you he will give 10 reasons for why he is saying whatever he is saying okay so a teacher also has to know his or her subject so well that whatever questions the student asks, you have to try and bring the right understanding in the mind of the student. Tejas has been my student at MBA program in my early teaching days, right? But let me assure you that my students used to ask questions which made my life very difficult. Okay? And many a times I have had to agree in the class, okay? So a teacher should not be ashamed of accepting not knowing everything. આપણે ભગવાન નથી ભલે ગુરુદેવો ભવ પણ આપણે ભગવાન નથી આપણે ખબર હોય know your limits yeah okay give me finish this slide and we can do it yeah I thought there was no break it was not mentioned in the program but sir now tell me there is a 10-minute break you know why this picture my interval શું કામ હોય first શું કામ હોય popcorn ખરીદે સાહેબ એમ કે popcorn ખરીદે ને પણ એમને હજી બહુ somehow he is not aware fully. My father-in-law used to tell me કે રાજ કપૂરનું કોઈ એક પિક્ચર એમણે 27 વાર જોયું હતું. રાજકોટમાં એ રહેતા હતા ગેલેક્સી સિનેમામાં 27 વખત જોયું. પણ દરેક વખત પહેલી વાર આખું જોયું પછી ખાલી ઇન્ટરવલ સુધી જ જોયું. કે વૈજયંતી માલાનો ડાન્સ પતી જાય પછી આપણે વયા જવાનું. વેરી ક્લિયર, રાઈટ? એટલે મને તો ખબર નહોતી કે બ્રેક છે. But let me tell you people that there is a lot more coming. Right? વયા જશો તો તમે નુકસાનમાં રહેશો, હું નહીં. મારે જેટલું ભાષણ કરવાનું એટલું કરવાનું છું. It's up to you to decide whether you want to get more out of this or not. No મજા આવી હોય તો એ ડાન્સ પૂરો થઈ ગયો માની લે છે. I will not take an offense at that. And intellectual, cultural, social and spiritual development outside the context of the learning. Classroom ની અંદર જે શીખવાનું છે તો શીખવાનું જ છે. But you have to teach the student how he can evolve intellectually, how he can evolve culturally, and how can he evolve or she evolve socially, right? And finally, how he or she can also evolve spiritually. Now, when I say spiritually, I'm not talking religion, because I believe all religions are the same, right? લોકોને ખરાબ લાગે તો હું કહું દારૂ એટલે દારૂ એટલે દારૂ એટલે પછી મેં ડ્રોપ કર્યો કે વિસ્કી કર્યો જે કર્યો એટલે દારૂ જ કહેવાય. એવી જ રીતે ભગવાન એ ભગવાન એ ભગવાન એને તમે અલ્લાહ કહો કે ક્રાઇસ્ટ કહો કે કૃષ્ણ કહો કે રામ કહો કે જે કહેવાય, રાઈટ? જ્યાં જઈને હાથ જોડીને ઉભા રહેવું જેને મન થાય એને આપણે કરવાનું. તકલીફ શું છે, રાઈટ? It is the godhood that you have to understand and not the God. રામમાં રામપણું શું છે એ સમજવાનું છે, રામની પૂજા નથી કરવાની, right? So that is what I want teachers to be able to explain to the students also, that in life you will come across a lot of people. You may like some people, you may not like some people, but every person has something worth value. You should be able to take it out. Apple જે રીતે ખવાય એવી રીતે નારિયેળ ન ખવાય, રાઈટ? સિમ્પલ. તમે એમ કે નારિયેળ કે ખવાતા હશે, અરે કોકની ખોડીને અંદરથી ખાતો પડો તો ખબર પડે કે અંદરથી કેવું સરસ લાગે છે, રાઈટ? અને એપલમાં મને બધા એવું કીધું છે કે એની જે સ્કીન છે એમાં ન્યુટ્રિશન વધારે છે, પણ તોય ઘણા લોકો એની છાલ ઉખાડીને ખાય છે. All kinds of people make the point, okay? So a teacher has to focus on intellectual, cultural, social and spiritual development outside the context of the formal teaching learning system or the instructional program. And then of course the classroom teaching costs. Cost of conducting one session is also increasing drastically. I request my faculty colleagues to remember this. Every minute that you are standing at the podium, અત્યારનું અહીંયા ઉભો છો ને, કેટલી લાઈટ ચાલુ છે, કેટલા પંખા ચાલુ છે, આ પ્રોજેક્ટના લેમ્પની કિંમત કેટલી છે ખબર છે તમને? એની લાઈફ કેટલી છે ખબર છે તમને? 1 કલાક એ લેમ્પ ચાલુ રહે તો કેટલો પૈસાનો ખર્ચો થશે ખબર તમને? Please understand there is a cost to everything that is happening in the life. So wherever you are, try to contribute to the maximum. And once again go back to inflation, right? આજે જેટલું આવડે છે એની કરતા 25% વધારે આવડશે તો તમે આગળ વધવાનો નહીં તો નથી વધવાના. You will become stagnant, right? I'm sure you understand the characteristics of stagnant water versus flowing water, right? પાણી જો વહેતું હોય તો એની characteristics જુદી હોય, પાણી જો સ્થિર થઈ જાય તો એની characteristics જુદી હોય. Now you have to decide whether you want to become stagnant in your life or you want to keep on growing, evolving and flowing in the life, right? So I was in a government job, 1994 to 2004. It was a pensionable job. જો એ નોકરીમાં ચાલુ રહ્યો હોત તો રિટાયરમેન્ટ વખતે 1 કરોડ કરતા વધારે રૂપિયા મને મળ્યા હોત. ઓકે, ગેરંટી ગવર્મેન્ટે લખીને આપી દીધેલું. 10 વર્ષ પછી મને એમ લાગ્યું અને મને કહેવામાં આવ્યું બે ત્રણ સારા very senior people, કામરો સાહેબ કરી ગઈ છે, ડોક્ટર ડી એમ વિસ્તુજી, એમણે મારી આંખ ખોલી. મને કે એમાં whatever you could do for this industry you already done. 10 વર્ષમાં તમારે જે કાંઈ કરવું એ તમે કરી લો. 10 વર્ષ પછી તમે જે કરશો એટલું રિપિટેશન જ છે, કાંઈ નવું નહીં થાય. Whatever the institute can do for you, the institute has also done. Now we can't do anything more than that. So it is now time for you to experience new things. I decided to leave the job, right? And from a government pensionable job, I moved to an institute called MICA, where at the whim of the director, I could be thrown out of the job within 1 month. સાહેબને મજા ન આવે, મારું મોઢું સારું ન લાગે તો મહિનાની અંદર મને કહી દે જાઓ ઘરે બેસી જાઓ. Okay, I took that job, but I've been very fortunate, frankly. What I mean to say is that keep flowing, take chances, take risks, right? પાણીનો જે બિંદુ વરસાદ એક ટીપા તરીકે જમીન ઉપર ઉતરે છે ત્યારે એને થોડી ખબર છે કે એ કયા તળાવમાં થઈને કયા દરિયામાં દવાનું છે. It doesn't know, right? I think Three Idiots માં જે કોઈ સોંગમાં છે ને કે અંડાની વાત કરે છે, ઈંડાને ક્યાં ખબર છે કે એની હાફ ફ્રાય થવાની છે કે આમલેટ બનવાની છે, right? So friends, all of us are that. હું પણ એક ઇન્ડિયન છું, તમે પણ એક ઇન્ડિયન છો. આવતીકાલે તમારું શું થવાનું છે તમને નથી ખબર, મને નથી ખબર, right? And I give you real life experiences. One of my friend's father was a very senior national marketing head for Adipur tires. Okay, and one fine morning he was going out of town. He had to go to the airport, and his taxi met with an accident, and he broke his leg. What could he do? And એટલો ખરાબ રીતે તૂટ્યો કે એ perfectly repair થાય નહોતો. The company said 1 વર્ષ સુધી કશું જ નહીં, એનો પગાર ચાલુ, 6 મહિના હોસ્પિટલમાં રહ્યા, જોજો. 1 વર્ષ પછીનો જે રિવ્યુ થાય, that is where the company officers told him that at a national marketing head level, we are sorry, but we can't have somebody like you who is not able to do a lot of running around. Right? A national marketing head is there's a lot of traveling, there's a lot of running around, you have to meet so many people, and this gentleman was not able to do it because of the broken leg. Okay, so they said that we are very sorry, but we will have to demote you, and we will be able to offer you a table job where you don't have to move around. And because it's a table job, your salary will be reduced by 40%. 40% salary cut. Okay? ये महीना एक मित्रों अमेरिका प्रवासी हो, so that life is difficult, life is not easy. Okay, so classroom teaching is a very costly affair. There are so many kinds of costs that keep on happening to you. You never know about it, right? So every student and every faculty should be fully aware of what he or she is doing in the classroom. And as I told earlier, outside the context of formal instructional program also, outside the class also. તમે જે ફી ભરી છે એ ખાલી આ સંસ્થામાં બેસીને ક્લાસીસ એટેન્ડ કરવાની નથી ભરી. The entire experience that you get in the 3 years of your graduation program is all included in that. I was talking to a friend from National Institute of Design in NIT, એના સનને અશોકા યુનિવર્સિટીમાં એડમિશન મળ્યું ગ્રેજ્યુએટ પ્રોગ્રામમાં. અશોકા યુનિવર્સિટીનો અંડર ગ્રેજ્યુએટ પ્રોગ્રામ એની ફી હતી 30 લાખ રૂપિયા. કોરોના ફેઝ 2 મને કે સર મારે શું કરવું જોઈએ, મેં કોઈ એડમિશન ના લેવું because 30 lakhs that you are paying at Ashoka is not for the classroom learning which can happen online also. Every day there is such a lot of things happening on the campus, and that is what he has to experience. All the guests that will come from the industry, all the other experts will come from outside. That is what he has to experience, and that cannot happen online. In a 3 lakh rupiah online program, wait for a year, let him do some courses on Coursera or wherever. Next year, because he has got admission this year, he will get next year also. Why not bother? So he took a drop for a year. He did a few courses on Coursera and others, and after 1 year, he went and joined Ashoka. So what I mean to say is that whatever you're doing, it's not just in the classroom. Outside the classroom also, a lot of learning happens, and you should be able to focus on that, right? So, Panjat, we can take a break now and start with something new as we go ahead. And we want to talk about the new education policy, the vision of the new education policy, and take it forward from there. Thank you so much. We take a short break and we meet again. Thank you.
We have 10 minutes before our next session is at 12:30 from UK directly. So all please come to that within 10 minutes. Thank you all.
what kind of screen time they have got and those kind of things. I don't know if you do that analytics or not. But at University and we teach film studies. And a part of that, we also try to teach as to how much screen time should be provided to which actor, right? And how will that impact the revenues collected by the film and so on and so forth. A lot of things are there in film and television and all those things, right? So, okay. We have a few more things to talk about, and that's where we'll talk about. All of you are aware of the new education policy, but let me tell you that hardly there may be 5% here who know it the way I know it, and there is a very straightforward reason for it. When the first draft of the new education policy was shared in 2018, I was at Flame University, and a copy came to us in a PDF form. And within a few months, I joined the North Cap University, Gurugram. There, the Vice Chancellor told us, all the heads of the institutions, that go through this entire document and suggest changes according to our perspective, the North Cap University perspective. And I had to read the entire draft, make certain points, and give it to my Vice Chancellor. So all the heads had done it, and after a month, there was a Vice Chancellor's conclave on new education policy. So in his presentation, he had to talk about all those things. So you can understand that if you want to make a presentation on a topic, how much preparation is required. So I had to study the draft at great length. Subsequently, the AICTE and some other institutional organizations, they organize seminars and conferences and being in Delhi. I was able to attend quite a few of them, and I have heard about the new education policy from people being in the industry of education and the Central Minister of Education or the erstwhile chairman of the AICTE, one of the most celebrated chairmen of the AICTE. I have heard on 3 occasions talking about the new education policy and its important message. And as part of that, the entire concept of new education policy is in the very first bullet point. We have always been trying to teach our students what to think. For example, I remember the Pythagoras theorem very well. With a little bit of revision, I can re-establish the Pythagoras theorem without much difficulty. I'm not good at mathematics, but Pythagoras theorem I know very well. But even in civil engineering, very few students actually understand why Pythagoras theorem, how Pythagoras theorem, what made it. Many a time we ask in the WhatsApp jokes कि अगर वो एप्पल नहीं गिरा होता तो ग्रेविटी के कोई नियम नहीं बने होते. अगर एक एप्पल गिरा और हम फंस गए, right? So in the same way here, we have to train our students on not what to think, but how to think about things. And when you start thinking how, there can be so many different ways, right? There are so many different ways of thinking about each and every aspect. And that is what we have to be able to inculcate in our students. There are a variety of interpretations and perspectives that can be applied to a concept. And that is what true learning will be, right? And that is where the foundational pillar of the new education policy is access to all, equity, equal learning opportunities to all, quality, minimum standard of quality to be delivered. And some of you people who know there is a difference between ISI, or what we know as Bureau of Indian Standards, and ISO, International Standards Organization. At ISI, you are told that this is how you have to produce a product. These are the output characteristics that you should have. Then you will get a BIS certification of ISI. ISO says something very different. I used to say that you tell us what you are going to do. We will note it down. And then we will always check whether you are doing those things or not. Whatever you want to do, you do. We have no problems. But once decided, you can't change. Right? You have to do it that way only. So as one of my seniors used to tell us when he took a workshop on ISO, he would say, you can get an ISO for manufacturing garbage. You may say that, okay, this is my raw material, this is the process I'm going to follow, and this is the output I'm going to get. Simple. And you get an ISO for that. Okay? Now you can't change it. For life, you will have to manufacture garbage and only garbage. Right? So, this is the difference of philosophy we need to be able to understand. Quality can be understood in so many different ways. And then, of course, affordability, education has to become affordable, and the institutions, even private institutions, will have to work towards making their education affordable for all classes of people, and there are methodologies available. New education policy provides for that. How an institution can make the education affordable, right? And then, of course, accountability. As I was trying to tell you in the first half, a teacher is supposed to be doing so many things, but he or she is accountable for whatever he or she does inside or outside the class. Not necessarily only inside the class, but also outside the class, how he or she is able to contribute positively to the evolution of the student body is what is going to be evaluated. The other aspect is to develop a sense of inquiry. Lifelong learning happens through the sense of inquiry and analysis. The student should learn how to analyze things rather than just take things as given. I'm talking so many things here, and most of you people are going to listen to this. Some of you may ask me for a copy of the PowerPoint presentation and give it to you without any problems. But I don't know how many of you are actually going to go through these slides again and question whatever is written here, or refer back to some other scholars who may have had some other ideas than what I have been talking about here, right? So, analysis and invention. After the end of this session, how will you be able to use this learning and invent new methods of teaching and learning? That's what's going to be important. That is what the vision of NEP says. And then, of course, it has to foster curiosity, right? There's a difference between inquiry and curiosity. Inquiry can be done for the next bus for Ahmedabad at the ST stand also. That is also an inquiry. But curiosity is different. Curiosity talks about why things happen, how things happen, what if those things don't happen, or what if those things happen in a different way, and those kind of things. And that is what is curiosity all about. And then, of course, interest. You have to be able to generate interest in anything and everything for the students. I already told you that you have to try and identify what the students are actually interested in and see to it that that interest is actually taken to the next level, to the level that he or she can claim the Nobel Prize. This is how Nobel Prizes have been won. I am not aware of a billionaire's son having got a Nobel Prize. I am not aware of it. Very ordinary people having studied at ordinary schools and colleges, later on joining the topmost institutions of the world, but they have a very humble background. Okay? You may want to check the data of Nobel laureates, and you might find that not more than 5% of them came from genuinely brilliant backgrounds. Okay? And that is what I mean by interest. And then, of course, logical reasoning. Everything has a reason. Try to think the logic behind whatever. For example, what is the logic for me to travel some 200 plus kilometers, almost 300 kilometers all the way to come here and deliver this talk? What is the logic? पागल मुझे ने कहा क्या? इतनी धूप में वहाँ से यहाँ तक ड्राइव करके आया और वापस भी जाऊँगा? You understand what I'm trying to say? But there has to have been a logic behind it. There has to have been a reason behind it. All of you are welcome to think of those reasons and share with me, and I will tell you what are the actual reasons. I have got 6 or 7 reasons which I know about, for which I have come all the way here. Okay, 6 or 7 reasons are there, and each one I will explain the logic for it also. Right? You have to think logically. And this is something that all teachers are supposed to be aware of. They have to know it. The Bloom's taxonomy and course structuring. I will tell you only one aspect of this where we have gone wrong. What happened is, as early as 1960s and 70s, university teachers started formulating their course structures on the basis of this Bloom's taxonomy, right? So, at the school level, you would be studying level 1 to 3 or 1 and 2 in the higher education. And when you come to the higher secondary, when you come to the college, you start studying level 3, level 4, and level 5 courses. At PG, you will study level 6 courses, right? And that is when your learning actually stops. Now, various institutions have started instituting what is known as coursework in the PhD also. Earlier on, it wasn't there. Okay? But when we want to go into interdisciplinary, we have to have coursework. Okay? And that is where even level 7 can be imagined. This is wrong. The taxonomy should be applied to each and every course, each and every subject. And going deeper, for each and every class, you have to apply the taxonomy. Remembering, some of the things I'm talking here today, you should remember. Some of the things you should understand very well, not everything, but some of the things I'm telling you, you should understand very well. And then, many of the things I'm talking here, you should apply, experiment, and try to see what happens in your life, right? And then, of course, analyze. When you do something, try to analyze. Are you getting any positive outcome or not? Right? You do one thing and you get a prize, you do the same thing and you will be hanged. Right? A soldier killing 100 people will get a medal. Okay? But a murderer killing one person will be hanged. Doing the same thing, killing people. So try and understand through analysis what is happening in life. And then, of course, evaluating. Anything and everything should be evaluated. The outcomes of every action or inaction has to be evaluated and finally created. Having evaluated, you will be able to know the negatives of something. You change those negatives, improve upon those negatives, and you will be able to create something new, something different, something better. Right? So one of my friends from the School of Architecture, Ahmedabad, he used to tell me when I was in the third year that, Hemant, you know, our building at the School of Architecture is so badly designed. वहाँ पे एक वॉल बना हुआ है, अगर किसी ने एक वो वॉल तोड़ दिया, पूरा का पूरा बिल्डिंग नीचे गिराएगा. Why should somebody want to break that wall? Right? And जिसने वो डिजाइन किया, जिसने वो बनाया, वो कुछ सोच समझ के किया होगा ना. अभी हम थर्ड ईयर में है. Right? The person who must have designed this building must have passed this graduate architecture course before 25 years, and then he must have been practicing this since so many years. Whose logic लगाया होगा? What you say may be true, but there will be other perspectives to it. You have to be able to understand. एक रेलवे स्टेशन या एयरपोर्ट इस तरह डिजाइन नहीं किया जा सकता, but a college can be designed like that, right? Especially an architecture institute can be designed like that. What is wrong in that? If it is going to add value to learning, right? So that is what I mean when I say create. Going a little bit forward, the logic of curriculum design is something that you have to understand. Connecting knowledge to life outside the school. Whatever syllabus you prepare, whatever learnings you offer, it should all be connected with the life outside the school. क्लास में बैठे बैठे किसी को O ग्रेड आ गया, A ग्रेड आ गया, कुछ मतलब नहीं है. बाजार में जाके जब काम करेगा, तब उसका जो ग्रेड आएगा वो सच्चा ग्रेड आएगा. I have always told my students of MBA, whether you pass with a D grade or you pass with an A grade from my institute is immaterial. Come and talk to me after 2 years and tell me how many promotions you got in the first 2 years of your job. Then I will say that yes, I have taught you well. अभी तो ग्रेड मिल गया, मार्क्स मिल गए, कोई मतलब नहीं रहता. बाजार में जाके खड़े रहो, देखो क्या होता है जिंदगी में, then you can tell me whether you excel or not. Right? Shifting away from rote methods, we have been trained to cram things, remember things. Please move away from them. If the logic is understood, it can be explained in any which way. You don't have to learn a definition. You have to understand the meaning of the definition, the connections of the definition, the references of the definition. If you know all those things, you can have your own ways of defining whatever. Right? And then, of course, the teaching curriculum for overall student development. I have talked about what kind of overall development, right? It's not only social, not only cultural, but also spiritual, right? You should be able to build and inculcate in that student right kind of thinking from the spiritual perspective. And spiritual does not mean religion, I already told you, right? To be able to do things in the right spirit is what I mean by spiritual, right? So I say कि अगर आपको किसी का गुण करना है तो इतना बढ़िया तरीके से करो, लोग बातें करेंगे क्या मैटर किया है, ओके? It should be that approach. Don't do it. करना मत. मैंने पहले ही बोला कि everything that I tell you here you don't have to do, right? But that is the perspective you have to develop. And then of course flexible evaluation dedicated with in-class and real-life learning. A lot of evaluation happens in the midterm evaluation and end-term evaluation. Actually, we were having the freedom to not take an exam at all. कोई exam नहीं होता था, right? For example, there was a total script writing, so there was no exam. You keep on learning for all the 30 hours that the course duration was, and by the end of the course, you had to actually write a script for a drama or a serial episode. You can create your own, but you have to submit that. Whether you have followed the principles of script writing or not will be checked. How creative have you been in the writing of the script will be checked. What kind of a language you used will be checked. No exam. Okay? Entire semester was available to you to work wherever, whenever, however on developing that script. Okay? And the faculty will always be available to answer questions. You are allowed to refer whatever. किसी को भी बात करना है जाके करो, शाम मैनेजर को पहचानते हो जाओ उनसे बात करो, if you have the capacity to do it. At the end of the day, how beautiful a script you are able to create will be there, right? And then of course you have to be very flexible in the evaluation, and it should be related with life learnings and develop students for responsible contribution to the nation. I'm not a BJP enthusiast. They keep on talking about nation building and nationalist feeling and all. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking here is the national economy. आप जो भी करो national economy में add करो, okay? Any rupee that is transferred from your hand should be contributing to the GDP. Students of economics will understand what I'm trying to tell you. Others can be explained from there, right? So that is what is very, very important, right? And bringing technology in teaching. All of you have experienced this. You have the video meeting platforms like Zoom, WebEx, Jamie, MS Teams, etc. So many others are also there, right? The learning management systems I talked about at Flame and other places, and the smart classroom. I told you about the kind of classroom we have at the AITTM. Those who are interested, you can write to the dean and request for a visit to the institute. When I can tell you that if you want to know what is a good library, go to MICA. If you want to know what is a good classroom, go to AITTM. Okay? So, when I did my faculty development program at IIM Ahmedabad, we were actually taken around different institutions to learn how those institutions are performing. We were taken to MICA, we were taken to IRMA, right? So there are different institutes operating in different ways. We have to learn all those things, right? So, smart classroom, blended learning. Learning cannot be just one-way communication. And the blended comes from offline as well as online. There are a lot of things which the students can learn on their own. Don't follow up with them. Just give them. कि देखो ये website पे ये सब आपको मिल जाएगा, पढ़ लेना, right? I'll tell you why now after some time. But that is what is required. Don't try to teach everything you cannot. You can't teach everything. You don't know everything. How are you going to teach everything? Let the students develop the habit of learning on their own, right? And then of course, use of digital resources. Once again, if you go to MICA, you learn about the digital resources that are available. Digital library, what is a good digital library? Go and experience that MICA, right? And then of course, you should have regular teacher training and development activities happening. Good institutions insist on teacher education. When I was at MICA, the institute spent 4.5 lakh rupees on me and a colleague of mine, and we were sent to Shanghai to attend the program. Okay? So it is this kind of things that need to be done at whatever level you're operating. I don't mean to say that the Commerce College at Tolani has to spend 4.5 rupees on any one of you. But yes, you can always talk to Professor Kalro who can come and teach you, the teachers as to how you can do a better job of what you're doing. Right? And then of course multimodal multitasking. There are so many modes available of learning and teaching, talk very briefly about it, and multitasking. You have to be ready for multitasking, right? Essential mandate is freedom to design the curriculum and syllabus, freedom to design your pedagogy, and freedom to design your evaluations. At both MICA and Flame, I had this absolute freedom. Nobody told me how or what you should do. I told them how and what I am going to do. It was engrossed, right? So this kind of a freedom you have to be able to offer because it is a matter of survival of the fittest. In academics also, it is a matter of survival of the fittest. If you don't keep yourself fit, you won't survive long. I already told you that in the first part. So student centricity, holistic development, multidisciplinary learning, we talked about it at the beginning. A student of engineering, mechanical engineering, should he learn playing of guitar? Yes or no? Yes, he should, because the guitar is also designed by the principles of mechanical engineering. I had a colleague at Flame University who was an IIT graduate, right? But he was teaching music, okay? And he has developed a software by which anybody can create music. I don't understand any musical instrument. I've never played any musical instrument, but I have created 2 pieces of music of 1.5 minutes each using that software. That is the importance of multidisciplinary learning, right? Everybody is a good actor, okay? Everybody is a good actor. Use that acting capability in the right manner and you will be able to go places, right? So multidisciplinary. Vocational and soft skills is very, very essential. Every student should be able to fluently talk whatever he or she wants to talk. When I say talk, I don't mean language. I already told you, even without speaking a word, if you are able to communicate whatever you want to communicate, great, don't speak. Right? And you will come across a lot of WhatsApp messages where these kind of things are demonstrated. Okay? So that's what we mean by vocational and soft skill training. And then of course flexible learning. NEP provides for flexible learning in terms of credit accumulation. Credit is every course of 20 hours is 2 credits, every course of 30 hours is 3 credits. You keep on collecting number of credits from an institution. After you complete a certain number of credits, you get a certain certificate. It starts with a diploma, it starts with first is a certificate, first year. If you do 2 years, equivalent credit, you get a diploma. If you do 3 years, you get a degree. And now the NEP is also talking about 4-year programs. If you do a 4-year program of undergraduate, you need to do only 1 year of postgraduate. You don't have to do 2 years of postgraduate. All this is provided in the new education policy. You should be able to learn about it. And novel and engaging course options. Some of you might have come across choice-based credit system. Like that talks about being able to offer novel and engaging courses so that students can pick and choose whatever they want to do. And then of course multiple exit and entry. At any point in time, the student can come into an educational institution and say, "Maine itna kiya hai, aage karna hai." Right? If a person is doing a diploma in electrical engineering, after 1 year of that, he or she thinks, "Nahi, abhi to industry mein jaake thoda seekh ke aata kya hota hai." So after 1 year of diploma in electrical engineering, the student can leave. Come back after 2 years, क्या मुझे second year करना है? The institution will have to give admission in the second year, right? ऐसा नहीं कि 2 साल का चला गया था ये सब नहीं करेगा, right? And then of course the internship-based learning. Every program will have to have a component of internship or real-life learning, right? That's going to be very important as we go ahead. And all courses should have research orientation. The students should be made to do some fundamental research work in whatever subject you are teaching, right? So you have to shift the pain of drudgery बच्चे बहुत मेहनत करके थक जाते हैं. That is the pain of drudgery to a joy of work. जो भी करें उतना उत्साह से करें, उतने आनंद से करें, they will be able to enjoy learning far better than just putting them into certain learning silos and make them study things which don't make meaning to them, right? So, a move from STEM to STEAM to STP. Some of you understand what is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. People have now started adding arts and design into it. Okay? So arts and design talk about discussion orientation and holistic approach and inquiry mode, which I just talked about, right? And discovery targeted. The student should be able to understand that I am learning something different, something new, which I have not known, right? So if it is a discovery oriented teaching learning system, the student will enjoy more and analytical. He or she should be able to analyze what is happening in his or her life and how whatever the classroom teaching is happening is relevant to that, right? I'm not very good at accounts, but I was just talking with a very senior sir there, and he told me he's teaching statistics and all, right? And then there was another person who was teaching accountancy. So friends, I failed in accounts. I got a D grade in accounts, and at the same semester, I got an A grade in finance management. Okay. So though finance is based on account, people say I got an A in finance and D in accounts, right? And the same teacher was teaching both the subjects. Can you imagine? This is reality of life. I can show you my mark sheets if you want to see. But forget that. What I'm trying to tell you is that a teacher of accounts has to be able to convey how is it useful on a day-to-day basis. In my phone, I have that, book of account, okay, debit and credit. Every day, whatever I spend, every day, what I collect from wherever. Many a times I take money from my wife's purse, it has to be shown there, right? I don't give access to that part to my wife, that's a different thing, right? But analytical. And then of course, critical thinking. आपको जो भी कहा जाए accept मत करो. Think yourself critically, evaluate whatever is coming to you and decide whatever you want to agree to it or not. Right? You don't have to agree with whatever is being talked to you. Even now, मैं अभी जो कह रहा हूँ वो भी सब स्वीकार लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. Please go home, analyze. You can write an email to me. You can have my phone number from sir. You can send me a WhatsApp. I will respond to it. Okay? Now that is the kind of spirit you people have to develop, the faculty as well as the students. A positive dialogue on everything. Differences of opinions are a must. Otherwise, new learning will not happen. Okay? So the next is STP, that is student engagement, technology upgradation in whatever you are doing, and professional development. At the end of the day, why are we studying? Are we here to become sadhus after 5 years? Right? वो किसी तरह के डगले पहन के हम निकल जाने वाले हैं तो कश्मीर में ऊपर जाके कोई केव में बैठ के जीवन जीना है? No. We are here to make a professional career out of our life. So, professional development. Always focus on this, how the student is going to add learning. And that's what setting an agenda for you. Clarity around strategy and sort of distinctiveness. How each one of my students is going to be distinctively different from the others. You have to identify his capabilities and you have to create opportunities for him to develop further in that level. Defining an overall strategy for the institution, instituting a school level strategy, and improving competitiveness, ranking, and reputation in order to attract top-tier faculty and students. How will you as a faculty contribute to this is what you should always try to look for. Right? And then of course expanding the reach of the university as a whole. It means improving access and affordability, which we talked about a while ago. Creating a global footprint. LPG, all of you know about globalization, privatization happened as early as 1991. We are a global nation, okay? And we have been talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in the ages. Foreign universities have come into India. If you want to sustain your intake, the number of students you should get every year, you will have to become equally competitive, okay? I invite you to look at the advertisements of admission by the North Cap University where I come from. As a part of their name, they say the North Cap University, powered by Arizona State University. What does it mean? Please understand. Foreign competition is already at your doorstep. Improve for yourself, right? And then of course finally implementing a digital and online strategy. Because online has become a must, you have to be able to implement it as a part of the strategy, right? And further, economic sustainability, reducing non-instructional spend. I told you about classroom costs. Reduce those costs, right? And generating non-tuition revenue streams. How are you going to create more and more revenue for your institution is what you have to focus on. Improving capital asset productivity. एक कुर्सी पड़ी है यहाँ पे, वो भी एक capital asset है. How as a faculty are you going to get the maximum out of that resources which you have? The other day I was just talking to a friend here. I was at GTU, and there is a graduate management school GTU, and then there is a new pharmacy institution which has come up there. So I immediately told my friend that why don't both of you come together and create an entrepreneurship program in pathological testing. Some of you may know what is DMLT, right? Diploma and Laboratory Technician. From Surendranagar, I know a lot of students studying DMLT who start their own labs. You are sitting in Adipur. You have the backing of none other than Gujarat Technological University. If you two people come together, you can create a fantastic course on entrepreneurship in pathological testing, right? So that is the kind of creative thinking that has to happen on a continuous basis, so that you are able to improve on your capital asset productivity. Evaluating core versus non-core activity. Focus on the core. Remove the focus on the non-core because they're not going to add great value. Okay? And then, of course, rationalizing the portfolio of emphasis and programs. This applies to institutions which have got multiple campuses, multiple programs, and so on and so forth. You have to rationalize them. So, if you come across some situation, for example, Germany, there is only one lab. And there may be 5 engineering colleges in the neighborhood. They will all be using the same lab throughout the day. So industries also work in shift. So that lab also works in shifts. It starts at 8 in the morning and closes at 12 in the night. Students from different colleges come there for every 3-hour learning. Okay, so the same lab is used by 5, 6 institutions of engineering. Create that kind of opportunities in your neighborhood. And improving graduation and retention rates. Develop intensive student support, services and tools. You are the people who are supposed to provide these services. Decide how you are going to do it so that your student is always happy. I'll make a hotel में ठहरा हूँ, right? Am I going to come to the same hotel again? Give me 2 minutes. Yeah, time is up. 2 minutes more. So I was trying to tell you, I am staying at this hotel. How can the staff of the hotel give me a very, very strong positive experience so that I will go there again and again? If somebody, my friend asks me, Adipur, actually you could say, if your youngsters, younger brothers and sisters, your friends ask you, कि मुझे graduation करना है, कहाँ जाना चाहिए? You should be able to say, Tolani Commerce College, और कहीं नहीं जाने की जरूरत है. But that the faculty will also create that situation, so the students will also be able to say that, right? So that's what I mean when I'm talking about improving graduation and retention rates. You may need to revamp a lot of things, right? Research excellence and commercial productivity. Every faculty must do research. At my the students also do research and they do consulting. Students can also undertake consulting projects and earn money. You have to be able to create that kind of an environment where the local industry will start respecting you and come to you for support in solving some of the problems that they are facing, right? And addressing competitiveness, workforce and labor market issues. Faculty members, you have to understand how your students will become more and more competitive in the marketplace, okay? And how you are going to put them into the workforce market and the labor market. There are so many issues associated with that, and you have to see to it that your students are able to perform excellently in that, right? These are some of the things. I will leave this presentation with you people. You can refer to this. There is a lot of learning in this 2 slides here, right? Formative analytics is something that all of you should try and understand. And this is my last slide. Teach back. allow the students to come to the class and teach rather than attend the class and learn. Ask them to learn by teaching, and then the best form of learning that can possibly happen, right? So, thank you so much.
Since Tolani sir has already joined online from UK, without wasting much time, I thank Hemant sir for such a long session, having a very wonderful information and having a very explanatory session for this. So thank you very much, sir, and taking pain to come here to address our gatherings and will call for us. So thank you very much, and now immediately we will join to Tolani sir. Thank you all. कोटवानी सर है ना, वो आपको भी देख सकेंगे, देयर इज एन अरेंजमेंट। आपको अगर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना है तो ये कैमरे में सीधा स्पीकर है, वो आप बोलेंगे तो उनको डायरेक्ट सुनाई देगा। तो इट्स ए टू वे कम्युनिकेशन। तो जब भी आप कोई क्वेश्चन रेज करते हो या एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन अगर आपको पूछते हैं कि कोई क्वेश्चन या अगर आपको कुछ पूछना है, सो देयर इज एन अरेंजमेंट, तो उनको सीधा सुनाई देगा और वो आपको देख भी सकते हैं। ठीक है, थैंक यू ऑल।
So we have our next session by Dr. E.G. Kodwani virtually. For this, I invite Nidhi Goswami ma'am for the introduction.
Afternoon, sir, and top afternoon to everyone, those who are present. As we know that it is yes, it is known as research is seen what everybody has seen, and research is thought. Yes, but it differs. Talking about Dr. Devendra Kodwani, he says that research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. This dictum befits our current expert Dr. Devendra Kodwani, who envelops the comprehensive experience of teaching, administrating and managing the spectrum areas. So, it is my proud privilege to welcome Dr. Devendra Kodwani, the chief guest of our conference, on the topic of sustainability education. So, Professor Devendra Kodwani is presently serving as a Professor Executive Dean of Faculty of Business and Law, the Open University, UK. Sir has been awarded his PhD in Business Administrative Finance from Manchester Business School, University of Manchester, UK in the year 1997. So I would like to introduce and further I would like to welcome Dr. Devendra Kodwani. Yes, welcome sir.
supply and the economic challenges that it produces, for example, inflation, or whether it is the rise in sea levels and the climate refugees it produces as a challenge. So you can see that the challenges we face are interconnected. I would also underscore the nature of these challenges, which is global and also long term. So currently in this second decade of 21st century, divided among nations, and nations think about their interests. However, if you consider the challenges that we face as human species and the planet, they don't recognize the national boundaries. However, given the way our power structures and politics is organized globally, politicians by default think in terms of those defined boundaries and fail most of the time to recognize that actually some of the challenges we face can be solved only when we cooperate, collaborate, and consider regional, planetary level implications rather than think within the narrow boundaries of nations. You can see, for example, biodiversity is the loss of biodiversity is an interconnected challenge. So if you lose butterflies in Kutch, it may have impact on Himalayas. Or if you lose certain type of fisheries in certain parts of the river system, it will have downstream impact on rest of the life living organisms, which may then have impact on other aspects of our interconnected way of life. Okay? We think of insects as nothing. When in our daily life we don't worry about insects. But actually we know how important those insects are to the ecosystem of life in a particular region. People worry about disappearing bees or flies or particular type of birds. And each of those then shows that our ecosystem is not a simple thing which can be reduced to this is something A, we are talking about that is something B. Okay, so I hope you appreciate the interconnectedness of the global challenges that we face, and hence, as educators, how do we address this? What is our role in this as educators? That is what I will briefly reflect on. And as I said, this is for all ages. That means look for solutions in education for sustainable development that are lifelong learning processes, and indeed they are part of quality education. Okay. So it then shows for all other things that we and this is taken from the link which is given here, so you can actually go and explore that link further. So let me just broadly talk about 4 areas that we as educational institutions, educators, could think about what is the meaning of education for sustainable development. Now I have written here what may look like economistic perspective on this issue, but I actually mean not more than economistic. So don't be misled by the words consumers and producers, as I won't even try to explain. So what is a responsible consumption pattern? Now, if I took year 1 economics book, I would teach students saying be rational, minimize the cost, maximize the liquidity. Now that's economics. Here we are not talking about just that. Here we are talking about, I'll give you an example. Recently I was trying to look for tickets from London to Europe, for one of the cities in Europe. And I said, well, trains are generally more eco-friendly compared to the flying. I was looking at train journey, and when I was looking at those points and search from point A to B, even to wherever I was going, it showed me the carbon footprint of my journey. Okay. It told me if I took this train journey, I would be costing this much carbon, I will be responsible for this much carbon released in the environment. And if I compare that with flying, it was probably 100 times more compared to going by train. Now this shows you as an alert consumer how you can make changes to the lifestyle or the decisions that you take as a responsible consumer. So the role of educator is not only just to talk about the economic perspective on consumption, but also to alert students about the impact of our consumption and lifestyle choices on the ecology, on the various other aspects of sustainability. Same is true for responsible producers. Again, when we teach in economics of production, we say maximize the revenue and minimize the cost. So resource is seen as kind of a passive element, whether it is the minerals or other resources that go into production, rather than having an impact on once the resources lose, what is the impact? So whether it is hydrocarbon energy we are using, or the water we are using, or the air we are using as part of the production process, all of this has impact on nature. And indeed, we do use many big elements that are expected from the animal world, from the rest of the living organisms, which we harness, we use, and so on. For example, the for protein supply. So when we supply things and think of the impact of that on the ecosystem, then we start thinking about doing things differently. And again, some of these things have to be started very early on in the students' learning journey, perhaps at the school level, and then continue on to when they come into higher education. And I will talk briefly about what is it that we as a teachers therefore need to prepare ourselves for. So those are the two key awareness type of challenges that we need to create among the students. A as consumers and B as producers. So the many of them will go on to work in industry, set up their own businesses, and so on. So that's why a student needs to appreciate the producer perspective and its impact on sustainability. Then there are two other things that we as educational organization or as educators, teachers, researchers can do. One is to actually collect and interpret the evidence of various things that are going on around us in our societies. So, as researchers, we have the intellectual tools, techniques to collect, assemble, analyze, interpret, and infer the data from the data. What is the impact of various lifestyle choices, of the policies, industrial policies, impact of particular type of development models. So we need to be part of that evidence collection and interpreting, because only we have this privilege, those who are involved in research, to look at the evidence and then make a commentary on it, so that at collective level, at the societal level, quality of the decisions and policy making is improved. we have therefore to take this very seriously. Whatever we have discipline, be that business, social sciences, natural sciences, engineering, technology. As I said, the challenges we face require evidence of all kinds. For example, there might be some students studying or academics sitting there who are interested in urban design. Now, we know the impact of urban migration of people from rural areas or small towns to larger cities. Now, that produces a different set of challenges. And if you're watching the heat wave in Delhi, I would conjecture, I would not say it is, I would not claim it, but I would conjecture the impact of the satellite towns that have been developed around Delhi, most of which are concrete terminals and high-rise steel and cement buildings. They soak up a lot of energy. They soak up the water table. And indeed create what we call city light or city impact of the heat. Has that got something to do with it? I don't know, but I would like somebody to study. How is urban development impacting the quality of air, the quality of environment, indeed the sustainability of the biodiversity around cities? So that's an impact assessment, and that we cannot expect anybody other than the academics or the researchers to do. It is our responsibility to undertake, sponsor such research projects, bring this knowledge of our students at master's level, at doctoral level, so that they start looking at these interconnected challenges of habitation and sustainability. Then, of course, we are ourselves responsible as organization, corporate citizens, individual citizens. So apart from being academics, we are also individuals in our own right, and we should be considering the impact of our own behavior as an organization. We talked about that and we give individual citizens. And I gave an example of how we make knowledge choices, for example, how we communicate with this approach. So this is an example of how an educational organization, this is from Plymouth University in the UK, they develop so many universities in the UK, and I'm sure in India and other places too, are trying to do their bit around the challenges of sustainability. And many are committing to net zero, for example. I know my university are committing to net zero by 2030. How do we do that? In our own essay and how we organize and so on. But this one is more about how do you embed sustainability in your teaching. So this is a framework they have developed. The link is at the bottom. You can actually see it's a 2-page, 3-page document, but looking at it and understanding if you are a teacher, how do you embed this? And there's only one example, there will be dozens of different examples from different universities. The first is, as a teacher, you need to understand the principles of sustainability. As I said 2 slides ago, appreciate the interconnectedness of the world. So when you look at change in the people moving from coastal towns to inner cities, what is driving that behavior? So you need to understand the principles of sustainability and how to respond to some of those things. So that's the first part, understand the challenge itself, which means as a teacher, I need to review the evidence, look, first of all, understand what are the challenges, what are the possible responses, and then how do I then integrate those things into my learning and teaching methods. Then we have to think about what are the specific sustainability issues that your discipline can explore. If it is a management discipline, if it is engineering discipline, if it is sciences discipline, in your discipline, what is the connection with sustainability? And there is academic literature on each of those areas. So for example, when you are talking of supply chain and operations management in management schools, how do you integrate sustainability in that, for example? If you are teaching sciences, how do you integrate sustainability in teaching organic chemistry or physics or biology? So identify the issues that are related to sustainability in the discipline that you are learning or teaching. Then create opportunities for the students to explore. Even if they may not be studying biology, but if there was a group of students, management students, let us say, studying in an institute and you had a small garden, and observe the type of plants and flowers and the bees and insects that come around those flowers, you start appreciating the game of life and the connection between the two. So, create the opportunities for the learners so that they can start looking at the interconnection between their personal choices as consumers, as students, or indeed their knowledge they are acquiring and applying for whatever profession they go into. What is that which will help them appreciate? And it is for us as teachers to ensure that wherever our syllabus, wherever our topic lend itself, and I would venture to say that most topics, most of the type of syllabus would find connections with sustainability. Okay? And as I say, sustainability in a broader sense, with 16 goals, you definitely find some connection. Even in politics, you will find connection, a large connection with equality, justice, and access. All those are very important issues that society faces. And that is appreciated by the students at this age when they are going through the development of their mind in education. Hopefully there will be something. And that's where fun also lies as a teacher. How do you engage? That's where you can apply all kinds of learning and teaching methods with the right of interactions in the classroom and leaders expose them to kind of trips that you take them through. All of these can be part of and very good opportunities for these students. And sustainable pedagogy. So again, you could actually design, there is a school here in Central University in the UK who designed the whole university around sustainability. All their curriculum they adapted in a way that would support sustainability, including in the areas of sustainability. So you could actually utilize sustainability as a pedagogy, as a teaching methods focus, and reinvent the way you teach and want to teach. For example, it would be perhaps a very good idea to expose the students of management and business to environment, to the issues of so that they can see the link between what they do as managers and the societal challenges that we face. And experiment with interdisciplinary. Now this is, I think, very important in my opinion. Quite often, when students do engineering, they're just doing engineering. They're doing sciences, they're doing only sciences. They're doing economics or social sciences, they're doing only four subjects. But we know that the challenges that we face require knowledge, skills, and talent from multiple disciplines to act upon to be able to challenge. And hence, the more we can expose people to different type of disciplines, bigger it is. It could be a similar argument as what we call neurodiversity. That means perhaps in management schools, you teach a team. An effective team is something where you have people with different type of skill set, knowledge. So if you put all accountants together to solve a problem, you would see an accountant's view of the problem. But if you put an accountant and an anthropologist, a psychologist, an engineer, and an artist together, they would perhaps look at the same problem quite differently. So what we have done there is we have mixed the cognitive and disciplinary multiple panel. There is a lot of evidence about the importance of cognitive diversity in meeting the challenges and decision making, and the disciplines in a way building that cognitive diversity also. So some of the books I have written about the urban design, they come from the architects obviously, but also have people who are very from currently I'm reading a book which is by a musicologist. But he has actually written about the power of misuse of media or political ideology or traditionalism. He's a musicologist, so he has reflected on political matters in the globe. Now, that is a very different perspective coming from someone who is no musicologist commenting on global power and the political ideologies. Very enriching experience. So this is what I mean by experiment with interdisciplinarity. Even if you don't get the formal credit for it, ask them to read us, ask them to read Plato, ask them to read Nietzsche and so on. Even if the subject is very different from what they are doing in the day. And then that's what I was going to do, includes the informal curriculum and the children. So you don't have to be burdened by the exams and so on. Just exposing people to those kind of different type of disciplines and methods will be extremely helpful. And indeed, influence others in the community, be that on campus, in the wider community, use any of these things that can help you influence the behaviors and choices. Now, this is just a slide to share with you that there are many resources available for you as teachers if you look around. And this is one just link where you will find a number of reports about how to embed sustainability in a variety of curriculum from perspectives, from schools to university level, and so on, and how people have used different type of incentives, including recognition for awards, and so on. Various things one can do so that the issues of sustainability remain valid in the currency of the university. Now, can education be sustainable? And here I just focus on a narrow perspective of sustainable education, and that is how as we in charge of managing institutions are running the education itself. And here I think it's a very narrow example of employees and resources and facilities that employees use in the education institutions. So first of all, look at, for example, the estate. Is your estate, the real estate that we use for infrastructure, buildings, and so on, is that sourced from environmentally sustainable materials? We can make huge impact on the demand side as consumers by just switching between a less sustainable source of materials or designing more sustainable source of materials in design. For example, could we be using a lot of solar energy, sunlight, natural air, rather than go from the controlled climate like air conditioned buildings? So that is one thing. And indeed, we have to use energy. Can we use energy that is supplied from renewable sources? Most universities in the UK take pride and also they got their own thresholds that by X year we will not have any energy coming from non-renewable sources. And many of them are doing that. Waste management, simple things like how do you recycle your papers or the rubbish that is collected around and campus, and how do you sort it, how do you store it, how do you recycle it, how do you dispose of it. These can be very, very powerful ways of reducing our carbon these organizations. Biodiversity, their example of a garden. I would love to have each college a small garden and look at the local climate, local habitation, what kind of trees, plants, what can thrive in that area, and just create 100 square meter or 100 square feet small patch and allow students to go and learn. Would it not be wonderful if each batch of students before graduating took among 5 students, 1 tree and looked after it for 2 years before they graduated, see what's happening and pass it on to the next batch to look after and become stronger. How soon we can green the package of learning institutions if 5, 6 campuses that we have, each batch should have 5 trees around that perimeter. How quickly will that grow and what kind of impact it will have on the quality of air and surrounding area and water table and so on. So support the biodiversity as an institution and request for the voluntary time of the students and staff to support that in a evening agenda. A very big thing that educational institutions can do is minimize the carbon footprint of the commute to the colleges. I know I work in Adipur, maybe more than half of the students in the colleges come from Nagpur and surrounding areas, not only from Adipur. So they're traveling up and down 10 to 12 kilometers every day. Now, if there are 5,000 students coming into campus 5 days a week, they will be multiply that with the number of kilometers they are traveling per student, if they are traveling 50 kilometers per student per week. How much impact we can have if we can reduce that individual or shared travel on two-wheeler to public transport? Could we not have 3 or 4 or 5 green buses running between the Road and the program down that just bring students and staff into campus every day? It makes huge difference. We are a very small university, but even we try to run a shuttle bus between the railway station and the campus because hundreds of staff come from outside our city and they land at the train station, which is about 4.5 miles. It's about 9 kilometers, 8 kilometers. And we have shuttle bus, which is cheaper for them, but what we do, if there are 200 people using the bus every day, we are avoiding 200 taxi journeys. Expensive in terms of the release of carbon dioxide to the fuel consumption for individual journeys. Can we think of such solutions that how Tolani campus can reduce the impact of its students and staff journeys, travel time, travel via individual vehicles through a collective transport system. And then afternoon, that same bus service will offer some services to other people. So that is big kind of a change you can do in the education system. Local community, again, who are very intelligent people, educators, students, and higher education. Once you start taking a little bit responsibility to increase awareness in the community, you will work with the council there, municipality there, and make a lot of difference to some of the environmental challenges that we are facing. So this is some examples of how we can make a difference to the sustainability directly. And the last slide is really more broader perspective on role of education to help with sustainable development goal realization. And that is, how can we give access to quality education more in an affordable manner? Can we use the campuses during the afternoons and evenings and weekends to give access and learning opportunities to the community? A lot of poor people there. Can we run evening classes for them? How do we be part of the economic development? Again, there are areas where polytechnic can do more work, science college can do more work. Equality of access. Equality of access is another challenge, and we can do that with not just put it but equality. So these are some of the things which we should apply our minds to as educators, as educational institutions, and see what we can do to play our part in sustainable development goals realization, not just for the world, but for ourselves, and not doing it for ourselves in the local area, we are doing it for the world. As I said, we are all connected. Other day I was watching a documentary on nature and thought of the wild grass that we have in pasture of the donkey. Now, if that disappears, that means a lot of changes have taken place in the ecosystem for that donkey. What is it happening in the wild area in that area? Can we do some study on it? Can we study the economic and social consequences of that? Because that donkey, that ass was the mainstay for the nomadic college, kind of transporting goods and services in the villages. So we have to think about sustainability beyond the environment also. But there are clear advantages of having a 6,000-7,000 students, tremendous talent and energy, and with 200 academic staff there, you together can make massive difference in the local area. And hopefully the other academics of the conference will be united on go on campus who are listening to this to find that some of these ideas resonate with them also wherever they are coming from. So I'll stop here, and we're very happy to take some questions and we discuss for next 10 minutes or so.
Participants and students, do you have any questions? Please come here.
Questions? Would anybody like to share if they have made change to their lifestyle recently that could have impact on the sustainability? Let me give you one example. So I'm not known for changing my shoes frequently, but since I become conscious, I become even more careful that I would not replace my shoes until they are really worn out. Would not buy new clothes until I have really worn out my existing clothes. So fashion wise. Fashion is a huge industry that has a tremendous impact on the environment. Are there areas like that you as a consumer would be convinced your teenage daughter, son, brother, sister, that there's no point checking your clothes every 6 months? Recycling. Feel free to share the example that you may have from your teaching that you might have adopted certain methods that support sustainable development goals. Materials that you might have used, if not in this forum, maybe outside this conversation, share that among yourselves.
Hello. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this thought-provoking session. I would like to share my experience. Since last 2017, I'm working with Tolani Commerce College, Adipur, and after 2018, one of our faculty and my head of the department, Tolani sir. I think most of the students and faculty members, they must be knowing. Tolani sir, one day, he just told me informally that Jai, you are really very young, and you see there are so many people, are so many trees, they are being cut to make books. So don't you think like that we have to go to a digital version, and we can start teaching students on PowerPoint and share material on PowerPoint. So maybe one day the whole batch they may go to digital materials. And since from there I have started preparing PPTs and teaching through PowerPoint, and we usually share these materials in their Telegram groups, which we have from our college for formal communication. I think so many faculty members after that they have started exploring, and we are in a stage like we are conducting class tests. We don't print the paper. We forward them through PDF. So that's how we are trying to change the traditional system of teaching. There are a lot of trees daily. There are a lot of trees they are cut for printing papers, even the ink. Okay, so we can try exploring such things daily. I think there is so much time we are spending with our cell phone. I think more than 6 hours. That's a big time. So we can utilize that time more positively to teach our students, because our students are also they are sharing they are also using more than 6 hours, if I'm not wrong. Agree? Yes or no? Yes. So you can also give suggestions to your faculty members, because some of the suggestions, there are good suggestions that was given by the students. So you can also share your experiences that how we can explore that, or how we can use technology to make teaching more effective. So that was my experience which I would like to share with you, sir. Thank you so much.
That's very, very important point you have made. I think there are two things there. One is not only the impact on the use of paper, you can reduce substantially. Even in meetings, I think people should be, as far as possible, using digital copies of the notes and so on. But yes, definitely around the reduction of paper. Because remember, if you give one page to 70, 100, 200 students printed, it has to be printed 200 times. It has impact on not just the trees, but also on the energy that goes into printing, ink, logistics, supply, everything that right from company that makes paper that uses energy to the company that delivers papers into transport. All of them are using energy. So just reducing the paper consumption by 10%, you may have massive impact on the environment. The other more important point you mentioned is about inviting students to give. I think that is a brilliant idea, because one must use the creativity of students to say, look, together as 5,000-7,000 students on the campus, you are responsible for releasing X thousand kilograms of CO2 every year just by commuting in this state. Can you reduce that by 25% in 1 year's time? And you suggest what are the ways that will work for you? That itself will create a lot of innovation and creativity and solutions that students will own themselves. So it will be the alumni who owns their public transport system rather than the college that owns their public transport system or the college community and so on. So involving students and staff in inviting ideas around making our education more sustainable is a brilliant idea. I would really commend that one.
Namaste, sir. Myself, Vishal Bhatt. I have one question. Sir, as a faculty of accounting and finance, we have many methods of quantitative evaluation of some concepts or aspects, but sustainable development is more of qualitative aspect. So my question is that how to evaluate and assess that we are on the right path of sustainable development? Is there any parameters of which we can consider for evaluation?
So actually it is not so much qualitative, to be honest. Much of the impact can be actually measured. So you could sensitize students of accounting and finance. For example, you take up a first chapter project or any, let's say a road between Mali and Kuch has to be between 2 lane and 4 lane. See what is the impact of that road on overall sustainability. So it can be quantified. There is, I would say that accounting finance students should be actually more tuned to quantification of the impact and understanding the impact. There are now companies which are saying we will invest in sustainable production and consumption, and therefore there are shares of those companies which offer returns, and then many big investors like the mutual funds and pension funds, for example, in the US and the UK. Many universities have a bit of surplus they invest in capital markets. They are being put under pressure by the sustainability groups to invest in sustainable investment options. So companies which are so many pension fund trusts, for example, in the West, are shying away from investing in oil companies or fossil fuel companies. So that is one way finance and accounting professionals are influencing the diversion or reallocation of capital from less sustainable businesses to more sustainable businesses. So that's how you could bring that kind of discussion alive. If you look around, you will find a lot of literature on sustainable returns. And that makes a lot of difference. So if the students understand it's not simple return on investment calculation, but actually using that behavior as an investor, you can drive sustainable.
Yes, sir. And as compared to developed countries, in India also we are now facing towards ESG reporting. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. And we have really, as usual, learned a lot from your session. And all the audience over here includes the faculties from the campus outside, and even postgraduate students are also there. And they must have definitely learned about it. So thank you so much for your session, and must be early morning over there. Spare your time for us. I really thank you from bottom of our heart from Tolani Commerce College, and Tolani Institute of Management Studies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
चलो जय पूरा हो गया वो
Sir, lunch break announcement.
लंच ब्रेक 20
We have a lunch break of 1 hour almost. By 2:20, everyone please come back, and the lunch is in the canteen.